person is like, we got to get this shit out. We got to rock this shit out.
I just can't believe they have a hard rock music station. Like a hard rock station to turn it to.
Sabbath is old enough by now that people that
Classic rock,
like
yeah.
like boring managerial types are like, well, this is rocking good stuff. Not like this, not like what you listen to these days.
I consider Ozzy pretty heavy. Like he is not the guy that's gonna. I mean, he's not heavy metal, but he is bigger than metal wise than like Pearl Jam shit, you know, which is what I would expect to hear on that, I guess. But
Yeah.
Black
Pearl Jam
Sabbath
metal
rules. Like,
Hey, Street Fight Radio listeners. Oh my god, this looks so weird to me.
Did you play it back?
No.
Is it wiggity 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 whack? Did maybe I stepped on something? I don't know, man. I didn't feel like I did. There doesn't look like there's anything down there to step on. I guess I'll piss before we get started.
When I was a kid at church, I got to sit in the back and do that. The volume thing.
Oh, really?
Felt like hot shit. I'm like, let me check these lights.
That's funny. Some of those churches have some pretty incredible tech setups.
Yeah. We have plenty of money to do it with, right?
Oh, yeah.
Ours was like, just, I don't know, we had like maybe 40 people on Sundays.
That's one thing that pissed me off is when I was working at the moving company and shit is my boss was giving his fucking church more money than he was paying his fucking employees.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's whatever, but it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Putting your fucking employees out and giving your fucking church like all of your goddamn money.
Yeah, that's how they get by. Damn, I don't know if I trust this. I'm so confused about it right now. Hey there, Street Fight. Boom, bap, 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 boom.
Wiggle the cord as you talk.
Hey, Street Fight Radio. I don't want to. We're not clipping or anything. Is that how? Is that too loud? Can you hear that? Street Fight Radio listeners, welcome to the show. Oh! See, that goes too loud. Sunday night, we're putting on a street fight. Yeah.
I already started streaming, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Some of it's been black screen.
Welcome to Street Fight Radio.
It's black screen, no audio right now.
Okay, okay, cool, cool.
All right, I'm ready.
We're going to have to adjust this rig here.
Yeah, we gotta like.
What's that face?
It's the cool face I make now. R&B rap is bull crap.
Can we look at the thing?
Cameras?
Yeah.
I'm talking about Chris Leon.
That works. Hello. What's that? Oh, that tincture? I thought you'd be out of that.
I am.
Oh, I didn't hit the ATM. I guess I could Venmo you if you brought it.
I have it.
Okay.
You can Venmo me Venom. Venom.
Did you see Venom?
Yeah, we did. We went on Tuesday night with the Chapo boys.
Okay.
It was good. I enjoyed it. Brett didn't love it. None of the Chapo guys liked it, but I was a fan.
All right, you ready to start?
I'm ready. Some motherfucking hot water would be a jam.
Right. You ready? 1, 2. Oh, wait. I got to start this shit in here. Let me get rid of all this banter shit here.
I love banter. It's what we do for a living. Don't Don't talk shit about banter.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready.
Going now. Hey, Street Fight Radio listeners. I'm glad you're here. Sunday night, time for a street fight. We're doing it live here on camera in the WCRS studios downtown Columbus. You can watch us on Twitch. You can watch us on Facebook every single week. We're taking your calls. The number to dial is 614-412-5252. We'll be here for a few hours. We usually go...
Can you turn me up in my ears?
Sure. I will do that after the intro. That is my co-host Brian Quinby. My name is Brett Payne. We have sitting in the studio with us today, username Joshua. He's been in here before. Y'all know him from Twitter online. You can find more of what we do over at StreetFighterRadio.com, and you can support WCRS by going to WCRSFM.org and clicking on programs. You can find all the other wonderful things that are on Street Fight Radio. Sorry, not on Street Fight Radio, on WCRSFM.org. I'm excited. I'm ready to take some calls. We had a great show this week. We did a live show with Chapo Trap House on Wednesday. They came to town. They really liked it. We showed them a good time. But now, we need to talk about bad customer service situations, military recruitment, small business tyrants, you name it. We're here to answer your calls. And especially if you're running away from any sort of religious cults, we'd be happy to talk to you as well. Thanks for being here. I've said that like a billion times, but I mean it every time.
How's it going, dude?
Pretty good so far?
The harsh weekend for Brett. He was in a bad mood yesterday. He was real grumpy. We hung out together, but he was grumpy and I was happy. And now that means that he's known as the grump and I'm known as the happy boy.
Yeah, I was not in the best mood at all. I didn't want to go hang outside when it was 47 degrees.
I agree. Dude, you were right. You know what I mean? I'm just like the type of dude that's like, well, if I got to do it, I got to do it. And I tried not to whine, but I was miserable actually when I got home. We were supposed to sleep outside and it was like 40 degrees. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and go home instead of sleeping outside because nobody was sleeping outside. It was too cold. They went into the house and slept. So I go home and I'm wearing compression shorts because I only wear those now under my clothes since a wonderful listener turned me on to them. 2, my wife's leggings. 3, a pair of sweatpants. One of these, what are these shirts called?
Thermal?
A thermal shirt, a American Giant hoodie, and a t-shirt. I had a dresser full of clothing on yesterday. It's the least comfortable I think I've been in a long time. It was horrible. Like, leggings, great. I am going to start wearing leggings now, Brett.
Yeah, they're a big, they're a necessity.
It feels good to have everything just tight in there. Women have had it right for so long. You know what I mean? Just everything get like tight in there, you know, just like the legs, the beans. They don't even have beans and they get it tight in there. You know what I mean? They're smart. It's a smart move to do that. I learned that this year. That's a big learning thing since I grew up in a time where you had to wear the loosest possible things.
They also, when you take them off, you feel really sleek, like a cat. You can like just slink around the house and lay on your side and rub your legs.
I took them off immediately. I didn't want my wife to see me walking around in leggings.
Oh, if I wear them in the house, that's all I'm wearing.
I've seen
I don't
you
put pants over them.
I personally have seen you in leggings, so it's not even just like that he does it when he's alone at the house. He wears leggings in the house. I just was like, my wife was like, try them on, and then some of the listeners are going to get annoyed with me, but I'm like, I'm not wearing girls' pants. I'm still the guy.
I'm sorry.
You have a lot of toxic masculinity.
I do. I really do. Internalized. I just felt weird about it. But then she was like, there's no difference. Like, you want to go buy men's ones anyway. What's the difference between the men's and the women's?
Yeah, same polyester.
Yeah, and she's right. She was. These were lined, fleece lined.
Oh, those are good ones.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be colder than it was. I mostly spent yesterday sweating, so that was fun. But yeah, we had a good time with the Chapo boys. I want to get something out of the way that we said on stage, because you're probably not going to hear it because their listeners hate it when they post their live shows. But when we were on stage, we let everybody know that on last Tuesday night, we had Will, Felix, and Matt over to Brett's house. We fed them Angie's Pizza. Classic round pizza.
Since 53.
Yeah. Thin crust with cut in squares. And they loved it.
Yeah.
So
They all got belly aches.
yeah, and everybody, but dude, if you would have seen, because we were talking about it online, people were like, don't let them guys feed you that crappy pizza. And I was like, nope, no, it's not crappy. You're saying that from some other place. You're saying that from a place that has never tried it. And that's where you're at. You have a prejudice, and just chalk up a victory for the Street Fight boys in the pizza department. We know was good pizza. Now I'm totally convinced that if Street Fight bombs, Brett, we're moving to fucking Brooklyn and opening an Ohio-style pizza shop, and we're going to make $1 zillion.
Yeah. Great business venture.
And then once we do it, 6 months after we do it, every city is going to have a pizza shop like that, and they're going to charge triple for the pizza, and they're going to be like, this is the best kind. I don't know if you've heard of this kind of pizza. It's like a Midwestern style. And then people are going to be all over it. Like, we know what people like. Don't ever doubt us. Don't ever doubt me and Brett. We know what people enjoy. So that's a little bit of news I needed to get out of the way. That, like, I have still never had a person come to Columbus, Ohio, try our pizza, and not say it's great. It's fucking great. So if you're ever coming to Columbus...
Settles it.
Yeah, if you're ever coming to Columbus, you know, you can take the challenge with us, but, you know, I don't want any prejudiced people coming, you know? I don't want you to come in and not automatically want to like it, you know, or you automatically want to hate it. That's just a thing.
Unacceptable.
You know? What?
Street pie.
I watched a couple of movies once the guys left town. I decided to, you know, rest and watch some movies. I checked out Mandy, which is a movie that a lot of the listeners have told me I needed to check out, and you were right. I enjoyed it. It was good. It was fucking weird. You're all a bunch of weirdos for asking me to watch it. But I also watched 8th Grade, and, like, if you ever want to know how I feel on a daily basis, watch 8th Grade. I am the dad in that. The dad that gets screamed at by his 14-year-old daughter all day and all night. That is exactly me. That is always how I feel. Dejected and screamed at by a child.
Okay.
I mean, you get it too. It's not just me, though. My daughter does it to everybody. She, 14-year-old girls make people feel bad. That's like their job.
She can't make me feel bad.
She doesn't make you ever just feel like, ugh.
No.
You're good, though. You're, like, really good at stuff because you're not her dad, so you can't embarrass her, right?
Right.
Because I embarrass her.
Yeah, that's the thing. You have the problem of being her dad.
Yeah, because I know that you brought her a birthday present, and I thought you just brought her flowers. I told my wife, I was like, Brett and Erica just gave her flowers. I'm sure she threw them at the back of their head as they walked out the door, and Kate was like, no. Kate was like, no, they gave her $20 too, and I was like, oh, now he's their favorite person in the entire world.
I used to be an anti-cash gift giver, but then that's what everybody's after.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's hard to go back and forth. Certain people, if I have something in mind, I would get it for them. But for her, I knew there was nothing that we would get right. We tried to get, we got her a poop sequin pillow, which she said was too kiddish. But I'm just thinking that, like, she wants to be old, and now all the old people I know try to be kids.
Yeah.
So I think I messed up the math in my head.
It is weird. That's a really weird thing you just brought up that I don't really think about a lot, is that, like, teenagers still want to be adults, no matter how much adults want to be children.
No, they want to, like, she wanted her room to look like a Pier 1 import.
Yes.
Like, she wants to have like lanterns or like wooden lanterns hanging from the ceiling with like a real hefty rope and maybe some, light bulbs in there, some candles.
Meanwhile, 47-year-old men have action figures stacked up all over their bedroom and stuffed fucking Captain Americas on their bed.
Right. Yeah. Really successful women have unicorn rooms.
What a conundrum. What a weird thing now. Like, I know this isn't like breaking new ground or anything like that, but it is like, how do we satisfy? Like, how does this happen? How does it flip
Grass
back?
is always greener, man.
But let me bring it up like this, though. Let me say it like this. When you're 14 and all you want to do is be an adult, I let her drive because her birthday was last week.
You let her
didn't
drive?
know I let her drive?
No.
I let her drive. Her birthday was on October 9th. So on that Monday, before me and Brett went out to party and stuff, we went out and got a smoothie. And I took her to Walmart because she wanted to buy some jacket. And on the way home, she's been talking about driving for like a month.
Really?
Yeah,
Like
just
soon I'm going to be able to drive?
in 2 years I can drive. I'm almost 14. In 2 years I can drive. I can get my learner's permit next year. And I'm like, well, first of all, the Ohio laws have changed so much since I was a kid. I don't think you can get your learner's permit that early. And I think you have to drive a certain amount of hours with an adult in the car before you're allowed to drive alone.
that's how it
Even
was
once you
before.
have your license.
Oh,
Even once you have your license, I think until you're like 17 or 18, you have to drive with an adult a certain amount of hours. And it's just a bunch of stuff, right? There's a bunch of new laws.
I had to do that.
So I took her to... Well, I didn't. See, here's how I got my license. I
That's why
guess we
you
can
just
give a
don't
little...
know. You're ignorant.
We can give a little Brian Quinby history. I didn't get my license until I was 23 years old.
And then they just give it to you if you fill out the paperwork.
Yeah, I got my temps, and I drove my wife around when she got too drunk to drive a lot for about 6 months, and then I just went and took the test, and I got it, But, yeah, so she wanted to drive, so I'm an anarchist. I don't think you should put an age on driving. I firmly believe that there doesn't need to be an age limit on driving because age ain't none but a number is the thing. And
Yeah,
like,
we used to, when I was 14, we used to steal my friend's mom's van and drive it around in the middle of the night just fine.
right. I know. We used to drive at 12 and 13. We used to steal my buddy's dad's car and just cruise around town when it snowed in the fucking snow on snow days. My friend's dad would go to work and leave his car there, and we would get the car and we would get high and drive that thing around all day. So it's like, but that's not responsible. What
No,
I'm talking
no.
about, what I'm talking about is like, a 14-year-old, I know 16-year-olds that don't have the same maturity level as like a 14-year-old of like my daughter. I've just seen them, there's dipshits out there. Me, I was one when I was 16. But like, I know that there are 14-year-olds that could handle driving a car. I don't understand why age is the way that you decide this when there is a test anyway. Like, you have to pass a test to get to do it anyway, right?
Sure.
So why not just let them take the test as soon as they're 13, 14 years old? Who cares? People, when cars first came out, you could drive them when you were 8, I think. I'm not 100% sure of that. I wasn't around then, but I'm sure before driver's licenses, I mean, you're probably getting into some pretty young ages driving cars.
Yeah, you also had a full-time job.
I know.
You had to get to
You had to
work.
get to work. You had to get to the fucking sweatshop. But, so I took her to a parking lot, and I let her get in the driver's seat, and she idled, basically. She
Just
did
let it pull her along.
the 5 miles an hour, and I was like, if you hit the gas, it'll move a little faster. And she hit the gas, and it got up to 7 miles an hour, and it scared her, so she hit the brake and then got out and said, you can drive now. So she wasn't so into it. I'm going to take her to
That's
a...
good, though.
Yeah. I'm going to take her
taste.
to a huge parking lot next. Just a place where, like, you can't hit anything. Nothing's going to happen. The problem is we live in the city, so there's not a lot of places for kids to drive where I am. So I need to take her out to the suburbs or something so she can drive around, like a parking lot or something like that. I was going to let her drive last night out in the boonies, but I was a little like, maybe not. Those are 50-mile-an-hour roads.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
There's maniac hillbillies driving 70 on these 45-mile-an-hour roads. I think I'm going to not do that. But
Right.
my wife is firmly against it, by the way. For people who are asking, my wife does not want to be in a car when she drives. She would prefer it if I didn't take her driving. But, I mean, I get to make some calls, too. Some decisions are mine. I'm going to let her drive. I think it's cool. I always wanted to drive. My dad never let me drive. Not a one time. Oh, that's against the law. You got to have a driver license to drive in a parking lot. So, I don't know. This is fun,
you're
though.
a cool dad.
It's fun. It's cool. Take your 14-year-old driving. You got a 14-year-old out there, a good way to get some points out of them. Nice drive. And that's what you're shooting for when they turn 14 is points. You want points. You want to be like, okay, she likes me for this 7 minutes. This feels great.
All right. Well,
I think we need to start the show, prime the pump,
okay.
so to speak, for the calls. So back when I was 17 years old, 16 actually, probably, or 16, early 17, I had a job at Chuck E. Cheese. And I have talked about this on the show in the past, how I worked at Chuck E. Cheese. And somebody today sent me a video of people fighting in a Chuck E.
brawl.
Cheese. A real fight. Like 10 people going at it, like punching hard. And it just reminded me of like the situation that you get in at Chuck E. at when you're a teenager and you work at a place, because that stuff happened when I worked there too. There were always people fighting. If you think about the central core part of my job for a period of the time that I worked there, I was a 16-year-old druggie whose job was to put on a 3-year-old kid's birthday party and make it perfect for their doting parents. And anybody who has like young kids knows that each one of those birthday parties is so important to the parents. I mean, I go to Brett's daughter's birthday parties and they're meticulously planned out and they're done in such a way that they're perfect. The ones we did for my daughter when she was real, perfect, meticulous planning, great theming, everything. But when I was 16, I didn't have the ability, first of all, to care. You know what I mean? So I used to do these parties, and I remember if something would... So I had to dress up as Chuck E. Cheese a lot of time, okay? And I would be a part of the party, so I would go out, and I would get them the cake, and I would bust their table. I'd go in the back room, and I'd put on a Chuck E. Cheese costume, and start playing the birthday song, and you come out... They had 2 songs. You come out, and you dance to 2 songs in the Chuck E. Cheese costume, and then you go back to the back, take the costume off, run back out, and finish doing the birthday. I know.
A lot.
I know it's a lot for a 16-year-old. So I would get back out there and they would say, "Where were you during the thing? We were looking for you and we needed you to do this." And they would start screaming at me.
They didn't know that you were the mouse.
They didn't get in their
Were
mind.
you allowed to say it?
I mean, the thing at Chuck E. Cheese is, it's probably like this at Disney too. If you say you were the mouse, then that is grounds for termination. If you talk in the mouse costume, breaking kayfabe is grounds for termination. And they kind of just made you afraid to let people know that you were the mouse. So there's one time where I'm out there and I'm dancing with these people and I'm doing this thing and I keep hearing these banging noises. And I don't know what they are. And then a kid punches me in the back of the fucking neck. And I realize I'm getting beat up by a bunch of children, the horrible children whose birthday it is. I'm out there dancing for them are beating me up.
Right.
So they drag me back to the back and they say, "You don't have to go back out there anymore. You don't have to go through that anymore." And then the lady comes up and she finds the manager. And she says 3 words to the manager that just have always stuck in my mind. And it's always happened. It's happened more than once. She said, "This is unacceptable." So the manager sent me right back out there, and sent me out there and yelled at me in front of her and all that stuff. It also happened when I worked for an internet service provider. There was a day where all the calls we were getting was for an outage because somebody cut a fiber optic line, right? So the whole ISP was out. Nobody had internet service. So the phones were just coming in. This queue was just popping all day. Boop, boop, every time you hung up. I remember I told this guy, "Well, it's out because somebody cut a fiber optic line." And he said to me, "That is unacceptable." And I said, "Okay." It like froze me. And I still have this visceral feeling of this feeling in my head of how I felt when that guy said, "This is unacceptable," because it was like I understand that it's wrong, but you have to accept it because that's the thing that's happening.
No other option here.
Yeah, so I wanted to hear other people's like bad customer service stories. So I got a thread on the Street Fighters group. Brett, if you have any, feel free to.
I got one. This
Okay.
one was on Instagram. This was pretty funny. My first shift as a counter person in a local restaurant also happened to be during the busiest part of the year, the 5-week stretch of the Contemporary American Theater Festival, which is as bougie as it sounds. A lady who was waiting not too long for food came up asking for a rag to wipe down her table because she was in a rush to see a play. Not detecting her sarcasm, I gave her a rag and she literally threw it at my face. She demanded to see the manager. Fortunately, the manager was super tight and happened to see the whole thing and asked them to leave.
Yeah,
That's fucking crazy.
That's crazy. That is nuts. I had somebody.
I was doing passive aggressive on you, like that's what it is.
And they will give it to you. They will really. The customers are the worst people. So
Threw a rag in their face.
I heard somebody today who was employee of the month, right? And she was a deli. She worked at a deli, okay? And she was slicing the cheese for this person. So I'm gonna slice you a pound of cheese, ma'am. But the woman that she was slicing the cheese for wanted a piece of wax paper between each piece of cheese, which wasn't a standard practice for this place that she was working at. And the woman looks at her and says, "I could get you fired, you know." Called the manager, and the manager came up to her and said, "She's on thin ice anyway. She's been in all kinds of trouble." Just threw her right under the bus to the customer. And I was like, that is evil. That is the most evil thing. Like, the only thing you want as an employee is that manager to make you be the person that was right in that situation.
How many slices is a fucking pound of cheese? That sounds outrageous.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably looking at about 16. Maybe
mean,
an ounce a piece.
I would have guessed way more than that.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how thin you slice it.
And there are so many people, though. People are very wasteful people of the older generations are kind of wasteful. When I worked at the grocery store, there were people that came in and said, we'd be like paper or plastic when they were coming to get the bags, and they would want 2 plastic bags with a paper bag on the inside. Like double bagged plastic,
Yes.
and then put the paper bag inside the plastic bags and put the stuff in there. And it's like, that's an astounding waste of resources. Like, what are you doing with all these bags?
No, the grocery store is so bad now. Like, when they're like, I get a pomegranate, and they're just like, I don't know what to do with this. Just put it in its own double bag.
I don't even know what this thing is.
Yeah. Is that like a product or a skin or an animal part?
I got 4 bags for 5 items the other day. And I was so annoyed with it. And I kept telling them, you don't have to put that in a bag. And they'd be like, oh, it's no problem.
We've got plenty. We've got thousands of them here in the bag.
The good news is Kroger's doing away with plastic bags.
True. I mean,
So-
and I keep mine in the car. It's just a rare occasion where I don't have it, and I remember those were literally the thoughts that pushed me to always have it in my car. Like, it's not good enough to have an excuse because they don't give a fuck at those places.
No, they want
Instead of yogurt, you're going to need 2 strong bags for that. That's 32 ounces. I can't put anything else in there with it.
I can't bag your laundry detergent.
Right.
Like, they put they put my laundry detergent in a bag, my head heats up. Like, I get so hot. I'm like, that has a handle on it.
Right. Milk in a bag.
Yeah, double bag your milk. You have to ask that, though, as a cashier. When I was a cashier at Kroger, they said part of the thing is, do you want your milk in a bag? You were supposed to say, do you want your milk in a bag? I never did it at the time because I thought it was stupid at the time because it's like the bag handle's worse than the milk handle. Use that damn milk handle. So those are some customer stories. And
No, I have an epic one.
okay.
This is one more that's fucking wild. This is from Coffin Dust on Instagram. I was once the manager of a local pizza place. We had an online order callback unhappy with his order, so we told him he could get another pizza back to him, but I couldn't refund his payment because it was done through the website, and he'd have to contact the site support to receive his refund. Reasonable. Just taking a break here. Because small businesses, they never get their fucking technology right.
No.
Like, Donato or like Domino's, Pizza Hut, you can do that. So, he gets pretty upset and hangs up. After that, about 20 minutes later, the dude comes into the restaurant screaming and demands his money back. I was closing out one of my drivers at the time, so there was some cash on the counter, and he just grabs it. I turn the security lock on the door, and he smashes into the glass like a football player and fucks the door up. He then throws the money in the air. I unlock the door. He walks out, brings the pizza back, and smears it all over the front window of the restaurant.
No.
All of this because he didn't want chicken on his pizza.
No.
Yeah.
Just pick it off. I mean, if he's a vegetarian, I get it.
I don't. I don't get smashing it.
No. I got getting mad.
Oh, sure.
Like-
well, not even. How hard up? You want a pizza? They can make you a new pizza.
Yeah, they could make you a new pizza. You don't have
You can
to
get your money back. You just have to wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, you don't have to go hard on them. You don't
It's a
ever
little, like you go that way once they say we're not going to give you your money back.
Yeah. You should go that way after the manager, right? So it's like, may I speak to the manager? Which I don't advise to do. I don't, Street Fight listeners shouldn't. I mean, if you need the manager, you need the manager. But once you get to the manager, it's fair. Like, you can scream at that manager all you want, and it's not going to bother me even a little bit.
I'm worried that this is one of those things where I would really love for them to go to jail, but I don't want to put him in jail, but I really would like to throw this fucking person in jail for a little bit.
Let me give you this one. I do outbound calls for an online pharmacy referral company. So I was talking to a customer to place his order. He was like 80 and a little weird, as many old men are. But at one point he goes, "Oh, you have a lovely speaking voice." And I roll my eyes and I'm like, "Oh, thank you, sir." To which he replied, "Yes, you sound like a 14-year-old girl."
Oh, boy.
No.
That was like but you have to, the thing is, like, that is a weird thing to say.
Right.
And in any normal circumstance, you could just tell the guy off and hang up on him or tell him to fuck off, but not in that chat. Then you have to keep talking to him. You have to keep talking to this guy that thinks you're a lovely 14-year-old girl,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, once again, these people got it. We have to, there needs to be like some sort of customer service reckoning. Like, you have to stand for your crimes, right? As a customer. We need customer court.
Yeah. Pizza Hut. Answering the phone, some lady wanted to use her credit card for a pickup. I told her politely that the system didn't allow that, to just bring the card to the store. She starts berating me. So I said, "Fine, give me your credit card number because I have to do some Christmas shopping." Hung up on her. Told my boss that the customer was awful. I was employee of the month, so I didn't get in trouble. It was pretty funny, especially her reaction to me thinking I would scam her credit card. I did. I got a few good ones in. Like, if I was near the end of quitting a job, I would give them hell.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
just whatever.
A little bit of
but
pushback. Be smart. Be a little bit of a smart ass.
I used to work at a Blockbuster, and one of the most notable memories was when a guy looked at the unisex sign on the bathroom door and asked if that's where we kept the porno.
Is that the code, man?
Let's get some calls in, man.
Yeah, let's see who's on the line here. Let me adjust
You might have to
this.
turn my mic up a little because it's like everything sounds so quiet in my earphones tonight.
I can turn you up.
Turn me up in my
Which one
ears.
you are.
Like, what's his name?
Turn my headphones up.
Turn my headphones up. Like,
Is that better?
Drake. I don't know. I have to hear the call first.
All right, let's see who's on the line here. Thank you for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Hey, this is Terry.
What's up, Terry? How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Well, what can we do for you tonight, Terry?
Well, I want to talk about when I worked at Disneyland.
Oh, nice.
Yes! I saw you comment that, and I was like, I hope Terry calls in tonight.
Well, here I am.
What'd you do at Disneyland? Can I ask you that?
Yeah, so I worked at the Jungle Cruise, and
Whoa.
I also did like crowd control for like parades and fireworks.
The crowd control sounds terrible to me. Would you say that, Brett?
No, I don't.
You want to do crowd control?
I would like to do that.
You're down with crowd
You
control?
just cross your arms and look really stern.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, is that what you did, Terry?
Yeah, that's usually what it is until there's someone who just really has to get past you for like no reason at all. Like you're just like walk 5 feet that way and just follow everyone else, and you'll get to where you need to go a lot faster than fighting the thousands of people walking down this narrow sidewalk. And they'll just like push past you and like try and fight you on everything.
Oh, so you're trying to
And it sucks
prevent
'cause
them
you're
from running into people that are going the opposite direction.
Yeah, and it sucks because like you're telling them, and it's true. Like if you just follow everyone else, you're going to get to where you want to be a lot faster. But they believe that no, you're just lying, and it's like no, I just want to help you out, get you there faster, and they're like, and they'll just yell at you relentlessly.
Yeah, that sucks. And that's their happiest day on earth, right? So they get to do whatever they want. They're thinking, and they've already spent $1 million.
Yeah, that's the thing with customers at Disneyland, and it's, you know, it's understandable. You want to help them out as much as possible, but still, it's like things just get crazy.
So what did you do on the jungle tour?
On the Jungle Cruise, I did everything. I, drive the boat, tell the jokes,
Did they write those
everything
for
like
you?
that. Like, yeah, we basically get a script, and each like scene has like a list of jokes you can tell, so you kind of develop your own little set that you do.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Man, that but how long ago was this?
This was maybe about 4 years ago. I was working there.
All right, what were we gonna say? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, so probably definitely the craziest day of the year at any of these parks is New Year's Eve, because they have the fireworks, the whole celebration there, and so a lot of people want to be at the park for New Year's Eve. So they pull out all the stops, do everything to like make it so more people can fit into the park. And so basically how it ends up is you have crowd control people literally all over the park just sending everyone in a giant circle. Because there's no room to walk, there's no room to do anything. Everyone's just there to wait for the fireworks, but they have to get there early in the morning, otherwise the park will just be filled up.
So you're just like a third base coach, just waving people like around the next corner?
Yeah, and
I remember,
especially on New Year's. Go ahead.
well, I remember when we went as a kid, I remember it being pretty efficient. Like the way that it all worked, some eggheads had figured out how to get all those people to move around and not be like bottlenecked everywhere.
Oh yeah, it's super efficient. It's just like New Year's is like the stress test of all stress tests.
Right.
There is absolutely no room to walk. That day alone, I think my foot got ran over by an electric scooter like 10 times.
Yeah, that sounds like a regular injury at Disney resorts or the Disney experience.
Oh yeah, everyone who works crowd control, everyone has gotten their foot ran over by an ECV.
So do you get to hang out with like all the mascots and everything in the break room, or is everybody separated?
Yeah, you hang out with you meet like all different people who are friends of characters. That's how it is. Since you can't tell people you're a character. So if you're like Cinderella, you're a friend of Cinderella.
Oh.
Is it an honor? Like, is it competitive to be the genie or Aladdin? Is that something people vie for?
The really popular, basically, like among the entertainment people, there's like a hierarchy. Like it goes like parade people. Then, like, anyone who walks around, they're called, like, face characters, who isn't in one of those, like, big furry suits.
Okay.
And then, like, on the bottom, there's like, the mascots.
So mascots are the bottom level, like, people there?
Yeah, well, as far as like the
You want to be like a
inner
real live actor.
social, like, yeah. So as far as like the inner social circle goes,
You want to be
Like, that's
Gaston
how
and
it is.
get in a push-up competition on someone's Snapchat.
Well, he's hunky. Like,
Yeah.
I get that because they're good looking. Like, if you want to be an actor, you got to be good
And you're
looking.
probably allowed to talk, too.
Yeah. Were you allowed to talk in the Goofy
Yeah.
costume and stuff?
no, if they're wearing a head, then there's no talking. But if you can actually see their face, then they can talk.
Ugh. God, I did Chucky, and if you talk, they said you would get fired if you talk. And that was what the always thing that scared everybody, man. So what was the Jungle Cruise like? What was it? Is that like a rock? Did he already talk about the Jungle Cruise? Did I fuck this up when I went out and get my tea?
Yeah, I mean, we did discuss it a little bit.
That's the tea, sis. I'm sorry. I was getting tea. I'm drinking tea now, and it's just not
How much?
working
I mean,
out.
the Jungle Cruise. As far as like any one position I've had, at any place of work, the Jungle Cruise is probably the most like fun to work at.
Yeah. It
Anybody
sounds
ever
right.
fall in or anything? Or fall off the ride?
No, I haven't. That never happened to me. I haven't seen it happen. I'm not sure if it has happened or not.
There's always stories,
But,
though. There's probably stories of people doing it, right? Like when you work there, they're like, motherfucker, some idiot got drunk and fell off the Jungle Cruise.
I don't think there's been any, like, when I was there, I don't think there were any recently enough where the workers would have stories of that. But one thing I really liked about it is because you're doing these kind of like sarcastic jokes, you could kind of be rude to guests in a way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like that, the Dirty Dicks restaurant where if you, like, really don't like somebody, you can dig into them a little deeper.
Yeah, you can still lay into somebody. It's just kind of, you have to be nice about it.
Right, you do it with a smile.
Yeah. Yeah, like, this one time, you get to a part in the ride where there's a bunch of hippos, like animatronic hippos, and then you scare them off by shooting a gun with, like, blanks in it into the air a couple times. And so then there's a joke that says, that scared them off. You could tell by the blank look on their face. And then my whole boat was looking at their phone, so I said, it's kind of like yours.
Oh, that's so sad that like people are on this ride that like they created to be this multi-sensory experience, and like some engineer like sat around and was like, we're gonna make the Jungle Cruise, and then some like human resources person or writer sat down and they were like, we're gonna go ahead and write a script for this thing, we'll put a few funny jokes in there, and then they get on the Jungle Cruise and just stare at their phone.
That sounds like a meme Brian would share from one of those awful pages that he follows, like back in the day, and it's a boat full of kids enjoying themselves, and then it's like 2018, it's a bunch of punks looking down at their phone.
Yeah, that sounds like a great Facebook post. Like,
Yeah.
I'm the lead captain of the Jungle Cruise, and I want you to show how my crew looked today. And then it's just a picture of them all on their phones. Then you go on a diatribe about how America's fallen to ruin.
Like
That is a good. That would fly on a lot of conservative pages. That really would. I wonder if the conservatives like Disney now. Like there was a period there where they hated Disney because they did an LGBT day down in Florida. I knew that, and then all of a sudden, the firing James Gunn thing seems like Disney got a bunch of people on their side. You know what I mean? They also just fired They fired a Marvel writer recently that was too outspoken politically, and he was like a left guy. He was speaking against like racism and anti-LGBT stuff, but these conservatives got so mad at him that they were like, you're fired for bringing bad energy around here. And it's like, so Disney has been acting like a very conservative company for the past like year. So I wonder if they're like up in the conservative power rankings of good companies.
When I was in church as a kid, like 2000, 2001, etc., Disney was bad. People were railing against it because I think that they maybe extended insurance benefits to life partners, like
Yes.
domestic partners and stuff, and that was just simply unacceptable.
Can you imagine getting mad about that? Like, you're mad because people got insurance? Like, that's sick. I'm so mad about that. Doesn't affect you in any way at all. Doesn't make the ticket prices more. Doesn't make anything wrong. And it's like,
We can't condone this lifestyle.
Yeah.
yeah. People just get mad about things that I just saw today. I'm driving around, and I know I'm gonna say something that people are gonna maybe laugh at a little bit, but there's a school levy going in my neighborhood, and I'm just fascinated with the no on the levy people. Like, I can't not be like fascinated by like why you would do it, but especially if you're a renter, where yes, the property taxes might be tied up in your rent, but like technically it's probably not going to cost you more in the next year. And you're just like, I still don't want it. I still hate the idea of a levy.
You saw renters with signs?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So, yeah, people just get mad about stuff. Were you making good money at Disney?
So as far as the theme park industry goes, like Disney's a really good company. In, you know, of course, in relation to other theme parks. You know, when I was working there, you know, that Fight for the union hadn't done the whole Fight for 15 thing yet. But as far as benefit, as far as like pay went, it was higher than any other theme park. And I mean, like, for probably a lot of the employees that work there, half the reason you do it is because you can get into the park almost whenever you want.
Yeah. I mean, there's some real... I'm going to say this, and I don't mean to insult anybody out there, but there's some real theme park freaks out there that are just like, I need to go to a theme park every 2 weeks or every week or something like that. And that is probably like, just get a job there. But did it kill the magic for you at all? Like, is it like... I've been talking about this in relation to clubs and stuff, that I used to like be really interested in like what goes on in the green room at like a live event, and like, you know, what's going on backstage and stuff like that. But now, like, I'm in clubs more often, like as a performer, than I am like as seeing a show. You know what I mean? So like a lot of that magic is kind of gone for me, and you can just see where everything's happening. You know, it's the same thing when I left Chuck E. Cheese. It was like, you know, you go to Chuck E. Cheese as a kid and you're like, oh, this all seems so seamless. This is all so great. And then you go there after you've worked there and you're like, this is a bunch of 16-year-olds running a restaurant.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like that?
Yeah, you don't realize your busser's also in the costume.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it kind of like that with the theme park now? Like you go in there and you can see all the seams?
It is. For some people, that's for a lot of people, that's a bad thing. It kind of ruins it. For me, like, I'm really interested in like all the technical stuff, down to like, oh, on the roller coaster, you know, this is how it knows where the trains is, and this is how the computer system works. Like, I think all that stuff's pretty cool. So being able to see all that, for me, that kind of enhanced it, because I could see all kind of everything that went into that apparently seamless magic. Mm-hmm. But yeah, for a lot of people, it definitely ruins it.
Well, that's cool. I'm also sort of, it's weird. I'm afraid of rides. Like, I don't ride roller coasters at all, but I'm very fascinated with theme parks too. I listen to Podcast The Ride. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that show, but it's a podcast about theme parks. And they like cover a ride every week. They're funny guys, but like, it's just like,
yeah,
I don't know why I'm so fascinated with how roller coasters work. And I'm never going to get on one because I'm absolutely 100% convinced that I will die on it. Probably.
Right. Well, thanks for calling in, Terry. We appreciate it.
We love all Terrys that call into the show.
Yep.
And have a good night.
Good night, Terry.
Yeah, that's working at a Disneyland or Disney World or something like that. That's something because they do treat you.
Brian wasn't here.
I'm sorry.
So we didn't. But I was going to say, you didn't hear the part where he was saying that he had to do crowd control where they would have these small alleyways and they would only want traffic going one way, and they would put someone to like block the other direction, and people would shove them out of the way, and he'd like, please just go right around, follow like the school of fish. They're going much faster than you walking the opposite direction down the street. You know?
I would do that too. I'm like the worst customer because if I see a shorter way, I'm like, oh, we got to take that shorter way. And then when I get yelled at for it, I'm like, what does this person care which way I go? But it's like the manager cares. That's who cares, you know?
Well, it just doesn't. I mean, it's not. You're just being an asshole.
I know.
Did either of you play Roller Coaster Tycoon?
Loved it.
I remember, getting the little pop-up notification says, this guest is angry, and then
Yeah.
you click to him, and the little quote is, I have to go to the bathroom, and it shows them walking past a bathroom, like, you little shit.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Go the other direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never played that. It sounds fun, though. I mean, I never played any of the Sims or Sim Cities or anything because that takes patience.
It does. Well, I guess it does, but it's also, those jobs are so weird, and I played tons of, I'm sorry, not those jobs. Those games are like jobs, and that's what makes them so weird. We were playing that Overcooked game, and my mother-in-law was watching us, and she was like, this just looks like you're doing work.
Yeah.
Like we're like scrambling to make recipes together, and chop up food and send it out the window. I complained like a couple months ago about how much vegetables I have to chop up. But if you put it on a video game, I'll chop all the vegetables in the world.
I'm kind of, yeah, I agree. I had Hagelbon from No Cartridge on the show one time, and he kept telling me about games like Euro Truck Simulator, where
Right.
you just drive a truck in Europe and you have to do maintenance on it. And it's like, it's one of the most relaxing games I've ever played because it's just like I'm just doing something normal.
Well, how much those tires going to cost me?
Yeah. It's like kids playing restaurant and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
ugh, no adult would ever do that.
Right. All right, let's see who's on the phone here next. We got a full queue tonight. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to? Howdy? I didn't turn anybody down.
Oh, God, sorry. Yeah, no, I'm muted. I realized that.
What is up,
can you
muted
hear
guy?
me
What's
okay?
your name? Yeah.
Hey, this is Adam. I've called in before. I do some of your zine stuff. I'm a Dan Robber on Twitter.
What's up, Dan Robert? How you doing tonight? I know you. I think I have some of your art up
Yeah.
in my living room. Did you send me art?
Maybe. I've sent you art in. I don't think I've sent anything you could frame.
Nothing to my house. Okay. Somebody sent me art to my house, and I can't remember who it is. But now it's hanging in my. If you sent me Mario, if you sent me Mario saying life is it's something about hell, you go to hell and then you die, or Garfield with the all-seeing eye above its head, that hangs up in my dining room now. Just to let you know.
No, those are cool, though.
Yeah, they're very cool. I got to find out who sent them. I feel so guilty about that. So what's going on tonight, Adam?
Well, I'm getting. I just took some fucking kratom because my weed store got shut down. I showed up and they had an eviction notice or some shit. So I guess someone narked on them through the health code.
What was the what did it get shut down? Like, what was the? Was it a dispensary for weed?
Yeah, so I'm in Cali, so it's a dispensary. They're legal, but they're always kind of like no one likes them. They're always on the edge.
Okay, yeah.
The thing said that they got shut down, and it seems like it's just from someone fucking with them because I looked up the code they posted, and it said that their doors aren't insulative enough or something. It's like their doors don't hold in enough energy for their heating system, and that's a problem.
God.
They love to close down a weed store. That probably a cop's greatest day is the day he gets to go and close the weed store. He probably skips to work that day. Like there's a little like blue bird lands on his shoulder and like does a sweet song, and he's like, "I'm closing a weed store today. I'm closing a weed store today. I'm going to give the owner a whooping."
But I mean, I am getting paid.
Yeah. That sucks. Is there? Yeah. That. Ugh.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be closed for 30 days. But also it's fine. I needed a tea break anyway. I've been smoking weed too much, dabbing too much.
Yeah.
So I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you got a whole queue. I had called in because you asked for bad customer experiences.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know that I have one that's quite as violent, as Brian's getting beaten up by children. But so I called in and told you guys I worked for that lady who turned out to be on the run from the FBI and stuff.
Okay, I definitely remember that.
Yeah. So when I was working there, I was the only person in the building for like 9 to 5 every day.
Oh, wow.
And you know, if you're just the only person, people feel like they can just hang out and talk to you all day. And it's really hard to get them to leave without looking like an asshole.
The customers, you mean?
So, yeah.
Like those type of...
Like they rent boxes. It's a small town. Like part of what I'm like a charming guy. So I eventually didn't tell someone that I didn't want to hear about something long enough that they started telling me about that their boyfriend had been driving a car and had like run someone over, and now they're going to therapy. And man, every fucking Thursday for 6 months, I would hear this.
And this person's telling you that at the box. You're just trying to sell them some boxes.
Yeah, no, I'm like, they get their mail and then come in for 45 minutes to talk about their therapy appointment that week. And I mean, they're really nice. They're okay. They're a lot nicer to me after they started telling me about how they felt real guilty about all this stuff. So I don't know about that, but
to me, it sounds
horrible.
To me, it sounds like those weird guys that hang out at the gas station and do their scratch offs and talk to. Have you ever like been at a gas station and you're standing there and there's a person doing scratch offs, and then as soon as somebody leaves the counter, they start their conversation back up with the guy, and they'll just stand there all day.
Yeah.
Oh no, I can wait.
It's like they had.
That was.
It's like they knew they had you cornered. They're like, this person can't leave. No
It's
one's
perfect.
even checking on them.
Because there are so many people that don't get to talk to anybody unless they corner them.
Yeah, I mean that's aggravating, but you were doing a good deed, because if somebody's gonna come up and talk to you about their boyfriend mowing someone down with their car, I think that probably means that they needed someone to talk to.
Yeah, it's just weird.
I was happy to be there for her, but it's. Fuck, man, I wish I got paid for it. Goddamn.
Yeah, I know. You could have run some sort of like Peanuts psychology thing where you just took tips, and then you're like, I do mail too, but if you wouldn't drop a heavy load, take a seat.
That's wild to think about, like how sad the like American healthcare system is, that like we're unloading our burden on like people making $7 an hour or $10 an hour to like do the mail. Like there's just so many people that you can't like. There's just so many people that can't go anywhere.
No.
So they're just because like
They just
I know
feel like no one listens to them.
right at the grocery store a lot of times. You know, when I was a cashier at the grocery store, a lot of times I'd be like, "How are you today?" Because that is like a common way to say hello. And they would tell me how they were. My dad does that. My dad doesn't talk to me hardly.
Right.
Like barely talks to me. But if he goes to the grocery store, he'll stand and talk to the cashier and just like give him everything.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm on this new diet.
Yeah,
Trying out
or
some
you
new
got to
stuff.
learn how your dad is doing because he'll tell the cashier about it.
yeah. And it's like, I guess like, I didn't mind it. I don't think I ever minded it, really, when somebody would unload on me. But it is sort of a burden, right? To hear, like, sad stories, over and over again. You say, how are you doing? And, like, somebody will say, oh, not too great. And then you're like, okay.
I think of it in a different way. I think it makes me more grateful. Like, as soon as they leave, I'm just like, I'm glad I'm not that fucked up.
Yeah.
Or, like, I could have it a lot worse.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. But there are just times where, like, you hear a bunch of sad shit.
Like, they just lay it on you and they keep going deeper and deeper. I have that too. I mean, I used to work with a lot of people that I worked with would just out of nowhere just tell me the crazy stuff that's going on in their life. And I'm like, I don't know why you came to me with this.
And the worst thing about it, Brett, the worst ones are when they're the bad person in the story and you don't want to tell them, like, no, this is all your fault. You're bad. You're the problem here. Because a lot of times
you feel like you've got to absolve them of this, but
right.
Because a lot of times when people are unloading on you and they don't have anybody to talk to, there are people that don't have any friends or anybody to talk to for a really good reason, and it's that they're abhorrent.
Right.
And like, I just don't want to be around them. You think about like the incel guys, right? Like they think that it's a conspiracy that women don't want to be around them, when the fact is they're just terrible, and who would ever want to
Right.
be around them?
No one
you
wants
know?
to be around them.
Yeah, nobody does. And like a lot of times they'll unload on you, like they'll unload their story on you, and you just want to be like, get your life together. How about that? How about you quit being mean to every single person that you meet?
Cut
Like,
people some slack.
yeah, because that's what it usually is. And like I used to have like, you know, I had this like really awkward customer experience one time when I worked at the grocery store. The manager, the floor manager was a black dude, and he yelled for me to come over to him, not in a disrespectful way. He said, "Brian, come here." But that's how you talk to people at work. That's
Yeah.
not. And like he was like, help this woman take her groceries out to her car. I went and took the groceries out to her car, and she handed me $5, and she's like, you give them black people a little bit of power and they'll just step all over you.
Oh, boy.
And I was like, I don't even know how to respond to this. Like, I felt so dirty, because it was just like the customer service thing to do is to be like, yes, you're right. Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day. I just didn't say anything.
Right.
I didn't like agree with her or anything, but it was just like in the moment. That's because the power dynamic is so weird.
Well,
in the moment,
yeah,
you know
it
what I
is.
mean?
It's like, and yeah, I mean, if you start something, it's just like, well, you don't get money anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
You can get fired.
yeah, yeah. You get yelled at, and it
Yeah,
was.
it's crazy to think that you could have gotten fired. Would you more likely get fired for taking that $5 than agreeing with her racist remark?
Yeah, both of them was. I mean, both of them were against the rules. I always took the tips, but
Well,
you know.
yeah, but
Yeah,
I mean,
no, of
like,
course.
if you were to tell her she was awful, then she would just go right inside and tell them that you were mean to a customer, and that they'll send you out the door for that.
Yeah, that you were rude. You were rude.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
yelled at me. You called me racist.
Right. They said I was racist.
Yeah, which to racist people is the worst thing you can call them a lot of times. You tell a racist person they're racist, and you've just hurt their feelings more than anything you could say. But that always sticks in my mind, the way that woman said it with such like hate in her heart. And like I had to, like, she's just unloading her racism on
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Her,
Okay, well, I won't keep you guys too long. It's been great talking to you. Y'all have a good night now.
Thanks,
Thanks.
buddy.
Oh, gosh, if I could plug real fast for the ocdsa.bigcartel.com. Help us buy paint and shit to piss off cops.
Yeah, help them buy the paint.
Right.
OCDSA?
ocdsa.bigcartel.com.
All right, got it.
Have a good night.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, another thing too is sad stuff is just those things where it's hard to say to somebody, like, you got to get over stuff, and there are like still raw things. But I remember we were at the Kennedy Center, and there was like this 80-year-old woman that worked there, and my daughter was running around, and this woman looked at me and she said, "Oh, my father at that age would just beat me bloody."
Yeah.
Oh,
my
boy.
God.
And she was just like, it was a different time.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I guess it was, lady. And like, that's haunting her forever.
Do you
know?
think that she was saying that to you because she wanted you to punish your
Maybe she
daughter?
wanted me to beat my kid?
No, not even beat her, but to just be like, you should be stopping
You
her from
should.
acting like a maniac, you know?
I'm sure, but I don't think she was acting too crazy at the time. The lady seemed to like her.
Yeah. They always
I think
have,
she
like...
was saying that. I think the topic was my kid was good, but other kids need to be beat bloody.
Yeah. That's wild to me. Like, how do you even talk to somebody? Like,
That's a hard open.
And it is like he was saying about, and it's like what he was saying about, you know, them unloading their thing on you is like, they can't expect a genuine reaction.
No.
You know what I mean?
There's
So,
no,
like,
there's no relationship there to get a release from, like, having someone that you actually trust in hear your problems and validate them. You know, it's just like a guy at a counter going, "Yeah, man, that sucks."
In January or February, towards the beginning of the year, I had a pretty upsetting and weird situation. I won't call it a stalker adjacent. I think that's an unfair word to use. And after it happened, I still have not told any of my friends about it. I just went to the place where I drink on campus, and I was like, you will not fucking believe what happened to me today.
I mean,
Because-
people generally, but I'll say this, like, I'm not saying don't tell people your stuff, but because I don't think a bartender or a cashier would want, like, they want you to feel comfortable generally. They want the social interaction to go as easily and as smoothly and as comfortably as possible. So, like, if you got to tell them your stuff, then that's perfectly, like, they're usually okay. I know I was always fine with it.
Yeah.
I was acquainted with her, and we have no mutual friends. So
Okay.
it was like, I can go in here and tell somebody about it, and then it's just
Let it go.
Right.
It's gone
Yeah.
forever.
It doesn't have. No one has to bring. No one's going to bring it up again. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're one of my favorite cashiers. Actually, he will just tell you like how his day was, if it was good or I like it because it's good or bad. But like if it's bad, he'll just be like, "I got 47 minutes to go. I want to get the fuck out of here." But then sometimes he'll be like, "I had a great weekend. The Bucks won, and this or that." So I like that he has like the realness to him. It's just not all misery. But I just sometimes when you're like, "How's it going?" He's like, "Barely hanging in there."
Yeah.
It's like, okay, man.
We had a good thread about on the Street Fighters group about how do you respond to how's it going.
Yes.
And I have really been a mess since I tried to politen since I've done what?
We got a lot of calls.
Okay,
Go
let's
ahead.
just take the calls. Let's
No.
go. Well, no, I'm
I'm
just
not
saying,
trying to shut it down. I was just
that
looking.
since I've been the type of dude that tries to do self-improvement and tries to be a better person to be around, when people ask me how I'm doing, I like to say, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Right.
But that like opens something up after you do the how are you doing? And like I don't mind hearing it, but I do hear some fucking wild stuff because I've asked.
Yep. If you give people the opening, some folks are like, fucking terrible. Let me tell you this crazy story.
Yeah. So
Let me tell you this real sad story.
yeah. But it's fine. It's fine to hear your fellow human stories.
It is.
I
I
don't
agree.
think that's ever something that I would complain. That's my job, first of all. But secondly, it's not something I would ever complain about because, again, the political theory behind this show is once everybody hears everybody's stories, they're going to realize everything's fucked up and revolt. You know?
Right. We're all in the same boat. We all need help. We all need the same, going through the same shit. And most of it is, the struggle of just trying to get by day to day, make that money. Let's see who's on the phone here next. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to?
Oh. Hello, am I on?
Yes, you are.
Hello?
Yeah,
Oh,
you're here.
hello. I'm calling you from the crust of the flat earth here in New Zealand. How's it going, Street Fight?
Oh, no, New Zealand, huh?
Wow. How far to the
Yeah.
ice wall? Can you surf out to the ice wall?
Probably not surf. Maybe a wee boat trip, but we're not supposed to get into that down here. That's it's a big government conspiracy about that, but I'll keep that between you and us.
Yeah, that figures.
Is this our farthest away call now? We've had Japan. I don't know if that's further than New Zealand, but I think New Zealand's one of
Depends
those
which way you
places
measure.
where you have to where you have to actually do a whole day in an airplane. So New Zealand is a far away.
Yeah, it's time traveling when you have to fly to New Zealand from America. So yeah, we're pretty far. I'm literally a day ahead of you. That's how far ahead we are.
So, compared to Australia, I met a guy from Australia once, and he complained that they're always cracking the whip there, and it was kind of a little more authoritarian than he liked. And I didn't know, is New Zealand similar?
No, New Zealand's pretty laid back, but it is a bit of a neoliberal hellhole,
Okay.
I would say.
Yeah, he was telling me that he said on his freeways they had speed cameras that just automatically wrote tickets, so there was like literally no chance of speeding whatsoever. You just had to drive the speed limit or get enough points till you lost your license. I don't know if it's true or not. That's some
it's probably a
hearsay.
bit it's probably the same here. Just I don't know. Our cops probably aren't as bad as yours, but yeah.
Sure.
It's a low bar.
Yeah, not many cops are as bad as ours. Like North Korea's cops are probably worse than ours, I would say.
Careful, bro.
Maybe.
I know, I should be careful about saying things like that. So what's going on down under? That's down under, right? What's going on in New Zealand? What's going on tonight?
Not a lot. We're just. I've got a bad customer interaction story for you. Bit of a
Sweet.
funny one, really.
Yes.
Sweet.
It's a bit of a short one, but I used to work in a toy store, and I had a customer come in and I served him, and it was fine. And then like an hour later, he rang back to the store and asked for me, and he said, "Oh, look, I really like the way you spoke to me. You're like really nice and polite and stuff. I've got a job offer for you." And I thought, "Oh, okay." And got his contact details.
Interesting.
I thought, "Oh, look, I'm kind of looking for a new job because the toy store is actually a horrible place to work."
Brett did that. For a
But I
while.
met up with him. Yeah, I met up with him later on that night at a coffee shop, and he started to pitch the job to me, and it quickly dawned on me that it was just a pyramid scheme. He'd lured me in, and he had like a whole PowerPoint slide thing on his iPad, and he was going through it, and it was the whole like, be your own boss, set your own hours kind of thing. And I was just like, oh no. But I was too sort of timid to run away, so I sat there through an hour of it, and then
What a drag.
quietly scuttled away.
Oh,
We
no.
call that getting shit prolled on Street Fight Radio.
Yeah, you got shit prolled.
No, that is a nightmare. I had a guy try to do that to me when I drove for Lyft. He was like, "Are you tired of driving for Lyft?" And I'm like, "Yeah," but I mean, like, not in the general, like, I'm tired of working, period.
Sure.
I just don't want to do it anymore. And he was like trying to get me to sell some kind of juice. Like, he was like,
God.
he told me both that he made a bunch of money from this juice and also that it got him laid a bunch. And I was like, the juice don't get you laid.
The juice game.
They love the juice.
So you didn't fall. I mean, toy store. I'll ask you and Brett this question since I never worked at a toy store. Would you rather do a pyramid scheme for a living or a toy store?
So toy store is pretty regular and way more fun.
Yeah, definitely a toy store. I mean, a pyramid scheme is kind of soulless, but the toy store sucks. But yeah, I'd rather do that than try and sell like sponges and overpriced detergent to people. It's just pretty ridiculous.
Those are wild. That stuff's so wild. Like,
Yeah, you're selling beauty care products, and you figure how much you're making $10 an hour, you're making $80 a day. How much do you have to sell on Instagram? You know, how much you have to try to con people out of on Facebook to make your money back.
yeah, a bunch of people that were selling.
exactly.
A bunch of people that were selling Thrive. Like, this girl that I was really good friends with in high school was selling Thrive for a period of time. She's just completely disappeared now. Like, I ain't got time for this Facebook if people ain't gonna buy Thrive.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for calling from New Zealand. That's very cool to get far away
right.
calls.
I've got one more small thing for you, and Brian, you'll like this. So a while ago, you were talking about how all the scooters were getting like left everywhere over Columbus or whatever.
Yeah.
The rideshare scooters thing. Well, this morning when I woke up and drove my girlfriend to work, we've just found out that they've introduced 700 of those scooters to our city, and they're just everywhere, all over the sidewalk at the moment. So I'm just waiting for them to end up in the river. But
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, and this is something we had to tell when the Chapo guys were in town. We talked to them about it too. People love the scooters. The scooters are popular, and within the next 5 days, those scooters are going to be all being ridden all over town. Everywhere you go, somebody's going to be buzzing by you on one of those fucking scooters. They'll do it on the sidewalk. They'll do it in the street. They'll do it down in the grass. It's like those scooters are popular. They're very popular.
Yeah, we have kids in my neighborhood
Yeah.
that just ride around the block on them, and I just wonder whose credit card is paying for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going to get drunk and ride one night, I think. That'll be my experience.
Try
Just
jumping
wrap it
one.
around a light pole.
I haven't seen anybody
What's that?
jump one. I haven't seen anybody even try to
Oh,
jump
yeah.
one. Like, is that we were
I
party.
wonder if you can...
They go
wonder if you
15
can
miles
tail
an
whip
hour.
them.
Yeah, they go. You can't tail whip them. I don't think they swing like that, but they
Oh.
do go 15 miles an hour. So if you got yourself a little ramp, you can definitely catch air going
Sure.
15,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We were at a block
Just gotta
party
make
and
sure you
there
don't
were
dump forward.
yeah, we were at a block party and there were ramps for the bikes and somebody had a scooter and they were kind of standing by it, but they weren't even thinking about it. And the whole time I was standing there thinking, that scooter plus that ramp equals something. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's fun, if it hurts, but it's awesome. Whatever
Broken
it
wrist.
is. Yeah.
As soon as those wheels leave the ground, it's just the whole thing gets a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I mean, like, I really, it speaks to, like, I guess, our faith in humanity in a weird way that these scooters, they haven't really gone bad. You know, you haven't heard about people jousting on the scooters or, like, robbing people and riding away on the scooters. You haven't heard of any...
I did. There was a fight, and maybe someone pulled a gun on somebody. I read about one. It happened. It wasn't here in town. This was just in the made it in the news, which is, I mean, bound to happen.
Yeah, I'm just saying there hasn't been a lot. If I just feel like if I had had access to these when I was 16, 15 years old, I would have figured out every bad, horrible thing you could do with it and do it. And that that hasn't been something that I've experienced yet.
And they are better. I mean, cars suck. I mean, we shouldn't
I
be
agree.
driving cars. We need to get off of vehicles, like, for real. And they do assist with that problem.
Yeah, anything's better than a car. Well, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it. Have fun
No
with the
worries.
scooter. Go do something wild on a scooter.
Yeah, I have to
Hell
say.
yeah, I'll go pop some wheelies.
Exactly. Yeah, we left a concert one night and took him home, and it was so much fun because we were like a little bleary-eyed drunk and just like screaming through the streets under the street lights.
I've only ever done it in a super utilitarian way. Like, I had my car keys in my pocket and I went for one of my long walks and my wife needed the car keys, so I had to grab a scooter so I could get home and get her the car keys. Which is just like, I might as well be riding one to fucking work or something like that. It's just like I need to do
joyriding.
it. Yeah, I need to do it when it's fun. I need to do it with fun in mind.
All right, let's see who's on the line here next. Thank you for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to?
What up? It's Mo HD.
Who's this?
HD, the dude with the weed waffles.
What's up? How you doing today? Oh, you have weed
Nothing,
glasses.
just
He's
gonna work.
got weed glasses. You have weed glasses?
No, weed waffles. Remember me?
Weed waffle. He's the weed waffles guy.
Yes,
okay.
we remember you now, Weed Waffles.
What's going on tonight?
Just got back from work, snuck out some food, 'cause fuck those people and fuck that entire job. I'm currently in the middle of applying for a new job right now as we speak. First thing off top, I want to get this out of the way. Shout out to the young lady who left the Jehovah's Witnesses. Did she say she went to Illinois, was it? Illinois, was it?
Yeah,
I
something
think
like that.
so, yeah.
Yeah, we hope to hear from them tonight.
You have to understand something. I want to make 2 quick points about Jehovah's Witnesses. Number one, if you want to understand in a nutshell what the Jehovah's Witnesses are, it's basically a religion where it's like, imagine if the Pentecostal religion was created by, like, Brigham Young. Imagine that.
Okay,
Right.
yeah. Okay. I don't know the
That's pretty much
Pentecostals.
the best way to
Yeah,
sum up what the Jehovah's is. They're pretty much like if like Brigham Young went and created like his own sect of Mormonism, but it was just Pentecostalism, but still with the Book of Mormon as its base book.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty much all the fuck it is.
Okay.
Point number 2, and you should also point, and I'm surprised no one brought this up, but you know who the most famous Jehovah's Witness in the world is?
Me.
Josh, you're a Jehovah's Witness?
Nope.
No, who is it?
Michael Jackson.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah,
he
you're
was
right.
a Jehovah's
Really?
Witness.
I didn't know that.
But
Yeah.
he's
Yeah, and
celebrating
everyone's
Christmas.
like, why was Michael? And everyone's always like, why was Michael so weird about like sex and all this different stuff? And I'm like, because he was raised in that fucked up religion. I personally don't think he fucked kids. That's just me giving my personal opinion. I think he had been growing up in a religion that was so incredibly repressive. Keep in mind, I just want to make this point out. Keep in mind, when he bought Neverland, he was like 31, 32 at the time. Now imagine, you have just become the most famous person on earth in the 80s. You have millions of dollars. You spent the last 20 years of your life living with your parents. Even when he was famous, he was still living with his parents. Now you're a solo artist, and you've led this life where you couldn't have all the normal fun as a kid. It's really not that shocking when you think about it.
Right.
That the motherfucker bought this big ass house with like a Ferris wheel. I was like, oh, he's trying to fuck kids. No, if I had that kind of money back then, I'd buy a fucking Ferris wheel.
I mean, I'd buy a Ferris wheel now, honestly, if I had that kind of money. But I'm a fun guy, so that's just the way I am.
Exactly. And everyone's looking at him like, oh, all this weird stuff. But like, no, when you're raised in a religion that incredibly repressive, why are you shocked that by the time they reach adulthood, they don't know how to function properly in the world? Like, and this is just one last theory I want to make on the whole religion point, and this is just a theory I've been coming up with ever since I've been, like, I went through a period of my life where I was trying to figure out why I was so unattractive to women, so I did kind of hang out in the incel boards, and I realized I couldn't hang with those guys, and I realized, oh shit, I gotta get my life together. So, while I was doing that, before they banned me from the board I was on, talking to these guys, I think I realized something. A lot of these guys are the direct result of what happens when you raise guys in, like, religions. Like, it's when you raise them, like, all the, like, weird evangelical religions, that's how you get incels. It's guys raised in, like, weird evangelical religions,
right.
And then they, like, go into the real world that's, like, you know, on average, a little more liberal, and they don't know how to function because, you know, they can't really, it doesn't really work like that. Like, but I'm a nice guy, why women like me? Well, sit down. We got to break a few things down. He's like, but my mom, you know, my grandpa, he was like this, and then my grandma, yeah, but it was also the 50s. We could, like, open hands, slap a woman back then, so you're going to have to start over, kid.
Yeah, I mean, the thing to say about them is that they are like traditionalists. That's their religion, is that they believe in some sort of handed down patriarchy tradition. I mean, that's what that whole Western chauvinism thing is about too.
Trad wives are big with them. That's kind of the brass ring.
Exactly.
But the thing is, I don't write for a website, and I wrote an article where at one point during this period when I was going through the insulting, I wrote trying to defend Jordan Peterson, but then I kept reading and listening more of his stuff, and I was like, I can't follow this guy. He's a fucking nut.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
sorry,
like it's just,
yeah, it's hard to understand how other people are comprehending it. I think when I look at all of this stuff,
rationalize why.
What's that?
I can actually understand why. I'm not justifying it, but I understand how people come to the conclusion that someone like Peterson is, you know, right.
Yeah.
The reason someone like Peterson has any level of appeal is because, and this is just me saying in bluntest terms, and it's going to sound really mean, but you quickly realize that with the way things are now, the way society is now, I think the hard truth that a lot of men have to come to terms with is a lot of us aren't going to be able to, like, pull the shit that, like, our grandparents and our fathers told us we could do as a man. And for a lot of men, that leads us into this weird sort of identity crisis, and that's how you get, you know, someone like Jordan Peterson going into, like, this weird cultural power vacuum, and that's how you get guys following him.
Yeah, I agree because I actually agree with that because I straddle that line pretty heavily where when I was raised, I didn't really have to pay attention how the food was made, never really had to learn how to do laundry and stuff like that, and then went into a world where, you know, meeting my wife, she's somebody that expects equality and isn't going to pick up after me and expected me to not be a bonehead when it came to making the bathroom clean. And so that took more effort than what I, you know, had really expected from TV and most of what I saw around other, you know, in other families, you know, like the dad just I would go to my friend's house. We'd have dinner. Dad would go and sit on his chair and control the TV, and then mom would take care of all the dishes, you know?
Yeah, like if you like the point where I realized when I had a discussion with my dad about this, he said to me like, why can't you take some of the things that I told you to do to like the women thing? Why can't you do this, this, and this, and this? And I told Dad, you want to know why I stopped wanting to be like you in the aspect of being like women? He's like, why? And I'm like, okay. And I'll make the story as short as possible. Basically, when I was 12 years old, I met the first girl I fell in love with, who I eventually lost my virginity to. Make long story short, I found out a decade later that she was the kid he didn't tell me about.
She
and I'm
what?
like, I don't want to be. Shit like this happens.
I didn't hear that. Your connection is is breaking up a little bit.
I said to my dad, the reason I don't want to be like you is because the first woman I fell in love with, and also the girl I lost my virginity to, turned out to be the kid you didn't tell me about because you were out being a hoe most of your life.
Oh.
And that's how these fucks like.
Okay.
I told him, like, this is why I want to be you. Because you fucked up my life and now I have intimacy issues. You fucking fuck.
Yeah,
You
that's
okay?
awful. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
And I'm like,
I can see going through some weird politics, like going through some weird political phases if that were the case.
and he's like, oh, come on, that wasn't my fault. You could have told me 10 years ago.
Yeah, definitely. That fucking sucks. Yeah,
Yeah, and the thing is, everyone always asks the same question. Like, you two still talk? And I'm like, kinda. I mean, her kids know who I am and know why I hang around time to time. Her brothers have always known who I was because I used to hang out with them back when I was a kid. But I don't think they know, but my dad knows now, her mom knows, and it's just this whole weird thing. It's like, it's one of those things that I don't know if it's just a Michigan thing or a Midwest thing, but is it just me? Does it seem like when, like, dads who are, like, have a history of doing ancient things, does it ever seem like this sort of stuff has, like, the potential to happen, or is that just a Michigan thing where this happens all the time?
we're having a hard time hearing what you're saying, dude. I'm sorry, but it's like really breaking up a lot now. But yeah,
Oh, can you hear me now?
yeah, I think so.
All right, Yeah, I was saying, like, is it just me, or does it seem like, is it a Midwest thing or just a Michigan thing that it seems like some dads have this thing where of them being like this, like, them being like this, like, total shithead in relation to women, that potential of what happened to me has a potential to happen to, like, their sons?
Yeah, I mean that's not a Michigan thing. I know. So we have friends that gets like a new sibling like every 5 or 6 years. They find out there's like a new branch on the family tree because Papa was a Rolling Stone. But
yeah, so it's not just me.
no, it's very common.
Like, how did that happen?
I mean, that's lots of men. I mean, it's a problem with masculinity. That's the problem with, like, I have a wife, but I also got these side chicks and stuff. It's really disrespectful, treating women like property, all of that. You know what it reminds me of, though, is I did the audiobook version of Miles Davis's autobiography. And when I came away from it, like, hearing all those stories, they sound pretty incredible. All the drugs he did and all the women he messed around with and this lavish, crazy life. But it, like, created so many fucking problems. So that's like when I'm on the road, I'm really not going to try to go to the strip club and fuck because that's going to blow my life apart.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to mess with the calmness that I have. I'm not going to be a self-destructive drinker or drug addict because I'm a person that would rather just have things be fucking chill.
I'm the same way. I value calm over like carnal desires,
Right.
I guess is the
Yes.
thing, Like I've done things,
Exactly.
I've gone through periods where like maybe I wasn't the best husband because of drug use and stuff like that. But like I always kind of got out on the other end of that. But I've never been the type of person that was like, but like I used to hang out with this guy years ago who always talked about getting strange, is what he called it. And it was just like his life felt like a stack of lies all the time. It felt miserable to me that like you couldn't ever talk. Like, he was a friend of mine, and not probably the greatest person in the world, but like where you couldn't even have a conversation with him if his girlfriend was around, because you didn't know what he had told her and what. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you never even knew.
Shut up.
Exactly. He would do that all the time. And it was just like...
Or trying to get you to lie for him, be an alibi and shit.
Yeah. And I don't want to be an alibi. I don't want to lie for people. I don't want to help people deceive people. That's not something I want to do. And like, yeah, when that's why, we don't do really anything on the road. We do the show, and most of the audience, a lot of the audience is dudes, and we talk to everybody and then we leave. But people are very nice. And I also think it's disgusting to like, a lot of those guys do this thing where every woman to them is a potential mate. It's like a weird thing. I've like talked to a lot of guys like that. I've told the story on the show about the guy I was trying to talk to about MMA, and he just kept asking me if I would have sex with the women fighters, and I immediately made me like not respect him anymore. Like, I just didn't like him anymore, and I don't want every woman in my life to be like an object or a thing for me. I want valuable relationships with everybody, and I think that's why women, like a lot of women, don't mind being around me, and why I'm probably not like an incel type of guy. That's why they don't come around. I mean, even that term, the friend zone, is like a really disgusting thing to me, where it's like, yeah, it's just impossible for you to be friends with some. Like, being a friend with a woman is the worst possible thing that can happen to you,
Yeah, especially if you're not trying to meet women. They usually know more.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, and the thing is, I tell people all the time, if you want a giant proof of how, like, in speaking from my own sake, if you want giant proof of how, like, fucked up things can get with, like, the ideas of masculinity, I feel like if you want a single proof, a single person proof of how bad things can get, I have two words for you: Eric Prince. He's from Michigan.
Yeah, Eric Prince. The Blackwater guy is Eric Prince. Yeah.
Yes, he's from our state. And you know who his sister is?
No.
Betsy DeVos.
Yeah.
Of the Department of
Betsy
Education.
fucking DeVos. Yes, I've said this before. Do you realize that on Thanksgiving, with those who get there, the room's temperature has to fucking drop.
Oh yeah.
Just with the puree, like it's like I don't like. Oh, come on, Eric Prince is that bad? Really? Eric Prince comes off like an anime villain when you just look at the motherfucker. He just looks like he has like a plan to like just be to the deaths of millions of people. Also, one last point about Eric Prince: he was defended in his war crimes case by fucking Ken Starr.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Ken Starr of
The Star
Monica
Report.
Lewinsky, the Star Report, right?
Yep.
I got it. I knew everybody you named.
He's defended by fucking Ken Starr, who, I don't know if you know this, but Ken Starr also defended fucking, what's his name? Something Epstein. You know what I'm talking about.
I don't know.
The fucking
Theo Epstein.
pedophile financer.
Alleged. If we're talking about Epstein, let's use
alleged
careful language.
financer. Well, hey, buddy, we got to get the rest of these calls. Thank you for calling it. Okay.
Okay. I want to leave you guys with one story about bad customers.
Okay.
Yes. What we're here for.
Basically, when I was working at CVS, I was doing stock. You have to understand the cutoff time for alcohol sales is around 2 a.m. Make the long story short, because the lines were long and because motherfuckers wanted to be assholes, I got basically a flying kick to the face by a bunch of people trying to like snatch and run a bunch of beer.
Oh shit! They tried to knock you out?
No, they knocked me out. I went into the fucking shelf like soda, and they all just ran out to the fucking store with like a bunch of beer.
Oh, okay.
Those
What?
are bad customers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those
that's
are the
the
worst
worst
kind of
customers.
customers. They
Yeah.
just, I mean, I used to do.
My manager came around the corner. My manager came around the corner, seeing me laid out. He's like, "You alive?" And I'm like, "I wish I wasn't right now." But
Yeah.
let me go home. He's like, "All right."
That
Because
is-
he's cool. He just let me go home. I was like, "Fuck."
That's nice. Yeah,
I
that
was
is a
laying there
homie for
crying.
sure. Yeah, well, thanks for calling in, HG. We appreciate it. I hope you have a good night, and we'll talk to you next week, maybe.
All right,
Mr.
Brett, do you
Hopefully-
have tunes?
Mr. Weed Waffle himself.
Mr. Weedwad, do you have tunes?
I do
that
have
we
some
can
tunes.
play. That we have time. We got to go jump Jason's car during the break so he can go home because he has a real job now. Oh, somebody goes and gets a real job now. But I think we can figure all that out, right? Josh, you can help us with that, right?
With picking
We
a
gotta,
song or jumping the car?
No, he's got to jump the car. Brett's got music. We just need a few extra minutes for this. And I love all you listeners. You know what? The Tri-State Street Fighters group had a meetup last night and took a picture, and it just warms my heart that these people are out meeting each other because of this stupid show. And it just makes me so happy. It feels good. I got to meet a lot of listeners last week, too, that for some reason don't usually come to our Ohio shows, but they're big fans, but for some reason showed up to this show where we were with Chapo. I'm just saying, like, you know, our other Ohio shows are good too, like the one on November 24th at Now That's Class in Cleveland. You know,
Yeah.
you could always drive from Columbus up to Cleveland and see me and Brett do Make Black Friday Red at Now That's Class on November 24th. And there's even going to be some music afterward with the Basement Boys. They're going to do some punk music afterwards. And we're going to hang around. So, you know, those Ohio people, that big giant group of people that showed up for that one, maybe might want to just see me and Brett do some stand-up, do some jokes.
Yeah, I suggest it. So we asked for it. If you got tunes that you can send to us and you make your own music, we can't stream anything because Facebook and Twitch will take down our videos. So we have the Window Smashing Job Creators. It's the name of this band. They're from Olympia, Washington. It is ska folk punk. So it's actually, you're gonna love it. Here, let me just get it going. I hope it's coming through.
Olympia, home of Bikini Kill, Beat Happening, Nirvana, KAOS.
Wow, that's an impressive list.
I was searching for the first thing that would appear in my mind. Our political and economic conditions were the only things that I could find. If we had the means of production, then I know what we would do. Let's paint the blue world black and red until that which should be becomes true. The police chief is in a limousine, running away from the guillotine. We're singing token blues in the guillotine. We're singing, we want it all. The police chief is in a limousine, running away from the guillotine. We will communalize. children are told to pledge allegiance to the market and the state. Let's revolt against that corporate thunderbolt. Let's expropriate the resources that the robber barons own. The anarchists, they have receded, the empire has grown, and history is a mystery, the future is unknown. The economic race is rigged, but people are still gambling, people still vote on rulers, politicians are still rambling. The hypothetical jobs, I swear, they'll one day be created, not for a few dissident countries are conveniently invaded. The American dream's non-existent, the American dream's for sale, the American dream's hallucinogen, the American dream is stale, the American dream is a pony friend, the American dream's your enemy, the American dream created is easy to sell you a violent remedy. They have traded morality for the illusion of luxury, traded economy based on gifts and needs, for wage labor and usury. We're living in a realm of hungry ghosts. Politicians and bosses are parasites who feed on their hosts. We are forced to buy our pleasures with their ammunition while our families suffer from avoidable malnutrition. I just want to dodge avoidable pain. I want extra armor for my brain because it's bulletproof vest and this helmet are gonna protect me from the American Empire. The market gave you a wallet just to steal it from your pocket. Tomorrow we will try to repair yesterday's flat tire because the American dream's non-existent. The American dream's for sale. The American dream's hallucinogen. The American dream is stale. The American dream is a pony friend. The American dream's our enemy. The American dream created is easy to sell you a violent remedy. I smell bacon, I smell grease. It must be Olympia police. I smell bacon, I smell grease. It must be Olympia police. I smell bacon, I smell grease. It must be Olympia police. I smell bacon, I smell grease. It must be Olympia police. And the state patrol, they got no soul. They won't let us poop in the pooping hole of the state patrol. They got no soul. They won't let us poop in the pooping hole. City Hall, the manager of City Hall, he wants to turn the city into a mall. Steve Hall, the manager of City Hall, he wants to turn the city into a mall. If you wanna do your city a favor, then you should run for mayor in order to abolish the position of mayor. 2, 3. Those weeds that you want to destroy, they have committed no crimes. And those weeds that you want to destroy saved my life 200 times. And the music that I used to enjoy, it no longer pleases my ears. Whether we like it or not, we are burdened by each other's irrational fears. Interdependent upon each other, an injury to one is truly an injury to all. So I'll see you next Mayday on the steps of City Hall. Cause our struggles are interconnected. The revolution won't happen overnight. Till then your struggle is my struggle. Your fight is my fight. Those weeds that you want to destroy, they have committed no crimes. And those weeds that you want to destroy saved my life a few hundred times. And the music that I used to enjoy,
I just
it no longer pleases my
I didn't
ears.
realize what you have to say.
Whether we like it or not, we are burdened by each other's irrational fears. Interdependent upon each other, an injury to one is truly an injury to all. I'll see you next Mayday on the steps of City Hall. 'Cause our struggles are interconnected. The revolution won't happen overnight. Till the struggle is my struggle. Your fight is my fight.
All right, that was the Window Smashing Job Creators. You can find them, the Window Smashing Job Creators.bandcamp.com. They're out there in Olympia, Washington. So if you're in the area, look them up. Go see them live. I hope you like that. Thanks for sending that in. If you want to send in your music or your band, it's streetfightradio@gmail.com. That is the email to send it to. We are coming to you live from the Free Press Studios here in Columbus, Ohio. We are a part of the Pacifica Radio Network. You can listen to us here on 92.7 or 98.3 here inside 270 in Columbus, Ohio. Right now, Brian is outside. We're jumping a car. That's the kind of radio show we do here. Our producer, Jason, his battery terminal melted, and it needs a jump. So that's where Brian's at right now. I do have another good story someone sent from Instagram. This one is, Brian's going to want to hear this one, but he's not here. So about 5 years ago, I worked for a Safeway grocery store in California. I was working the checkout line for the night shift. It was about a half hour till midnight, which is when we close. Myself and a bagger were the only two people up front, and we had a small line of people. I rang out this older couple who had packed up a small basket worth of things, including like 3 cans of beans that were on sale. I give them their total, but the lady says, "That doesn't seem right. I think those beans were cheaper." I scanned them again, and it turns out the sale tag on them was slightly cheaper, like 25 cents, than what it had scanned for. So I fix it and give her the total. She says, "That's not right." I try to explain her I had already fixed it. The price was the sale price that was on the beans. At this point, 3 other people in line are starting to get a little antsy. She starts getting angry and telling me I need to fix it and the price isn't right. So her husband hasn't said a word this entire time, and his facial expression is kind of telling me this has actually happened many times before. I call my supervisor and ask him to come over. Since it's close to closing, he's up in the office counting money, trying to close things up for the night, and the night crew is walking around and restocking. Supervisor takes about 5 minutes to get down to the line. My supervisor goes through the exact same process of scanning the cans, looking at the sales tag, and then he calmly explains to her that I rang her up properly and this is the right price. Her face turns beet red and she screams, "It's not the right price!" And when he calmly explains the entire thing to her over again, she screams, "I'm going to call the Office of Weights and Measures on you guys." So one of the guys in line gets pissed and yells back at her, "Call the Office of Weights and Measures on me. I don't care. Let's just go." So then they start getting into a yelling match. My supervisor then goes over to another checkout line to help people who have been waiting. Goes to another checkout line to help the people who have been waiting now for about 15 minutes while this fight is going down. Supervisor tells her she can either pay the price that she wants or get a refund, or pay the price that's there or get a refund. She refunds them he ends up refunding her for the beans, and they leave about 5 minutes before we close at midnight. So all of this because 75 cents. She could have paid the price, but instead she caused 25 minutes of headache for 75 cents.
Unreal.
Well, hey, I mean, that's pretty standard, though. And most of the grocery store now, though, I feel like they can adjust the price. Like when I worked at Meijer, if anybody complained about the price enough, they were like, just adjust. If it's under $5 or like under like 50% of the item, you could adjust any price you wanted.
Yeah, I think maybe with a certain, like a manager code or something, you can just manually punch in a number.
Right. But that sucks. I don't know. That sucks. That's fucking people, though.
I was thinking about something the other day, and I was thinking about, it's a pretty common sentiment that people talk about, how, everyone should work a service job just so they know what it's like, or everybody, you know what I mean? Like people that don't work in a fast food restaurant, or, people that have never had like a customer service. Am I on the mic?
Yeah, you are.
Oh, okay.
You're fine. Just double check. I had to change some cables over. Yeah, we called it the customer service draft.
And I was thinking about, I don't know what's worse, those people or the people that do have a history in customer service and then grow up and have a different job and are still shitty about it because they say like, oh no, like this is different. This is totally different. Or when I worked here, I had to blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. It's usually I did it. Like that's a lot of the miserable conservative people I hang out with. Like their life really sucked growing up, so they don't want anybody to have any better. You're not allowed to complain. You're just like, well, that's just working at the grocery store. We fucking hate you, and we're gonna treat you like shit and scream at you. And they feel like it's doing time. It's like doing time, I guess, or earning your place. Gotta start somewhere, right? Well, let's see who's on the line here. I don't know. Brian said the car died again, so I don't know when he's gonna be back. But we are still taking calls. Thank you for calling Street Fight Radio. Who are we talking to?
I'm guessing I'm the one because I just heard the beep. This
Yes.
is Mr. Maxwell from Tallahassee, Florida.
How are things in Tallahassee?
Well, we finally got power back to most of the city after Hurricane Michael.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Yeah, just giving you guys a call. My plan for my first call to you guys, because I've listened to you for a long time, was to tell you stories about when I was a mailman for 6 months. Or my first experience with cannabis in college on a road trip. It was edibles. It was fun.
Nice.
But I'm going to talk to you guys about what we've seen so far in the Panhandle post Hurricane Michael.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely interested. This is like our juicy street fight news. This is what I like on the ground reporting.
Oh, yes, and I've got info that a lot of the news networks just kind of aren't talking about right now. For instance, we did some drops after we cleared out the city enough to be able to go to the outlying rural areas. We did drops in Quincy, Florida, Bluntstown, it's not spelled the way you think it is, and Alpha, Florida. Quincy is the closest to us. It's the furthest east.
What?
Much like Tallahassee. I'm sorry, say what?
What do you mean by did drops?
Yeah.
What I mean by what?
Did drop? You said you did drops in these places?
Yeah, we're taking supplies to them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't understand that.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. Quincy, Florida, which is the furthest east, they got hit with stronger winds in Tallahassee. Before I launch into this, actually, real quick, I kind of want to explain what happens when you're going to get hit by a hurricane.
Yeah.
Because the director of FEMA last week, after the hurricane hit, started in on, oh, you think people would learn? They just get out of the way. That's not how it works. Usually with a hurricane, you have about a 1 week warning that, oh yeah, a hurricane might hit you. You then have to look at your bank account and figure out, okay, I'm going to lose all of the food in my fridge. Can I afford to replace it? My car's kind of crap. I might need to rent one to get out of town, and can I rent one before everyone else with a crap car gets it? And will my boss let me off of work? For instance, for every hurricane that I've been through, I've never gotten off of work more than 1 day before, usually the middle of the day.
The New York Times had something today about, getting different people's stories, and a lot of it was, or I don't know, some of it was centered on people that couldn't necessarily leave or had to come back early. And one woman just straight up said, my boss told me I couldn't leave. I wouldn't get paid. I would be fired, etc. So they just had to weather this fucking hurricane. And it's awful.
Oh, yeah, that's super common.
Yeah.
When I worked at Guitar Center, my boss at the time had to ride out Katrina in New Orleans because Guitar Center wouldn't let them leave and had them batten up the store.
Absurd.
Katrina goes through, decimates the store, kills all their inventory. It was for nothing. And
Yeah,
he ended up losing just about everything he had in that storm.
And they were putting their lives on the line for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absurd. Yeah, it is weird the way that people think it's like just a bunch of hillbillies that are just too stupid to leave when a storm is coming, When it's like people don't have the means to leave. If you could leave, you would leave.
And that shit has to be insured anyway. I can't imagine Guitar Center's guitars aren't insured. So you're making someone...
they made a killing on insurance.
Yeah, so it's it's so awful that they have to make those people stay.
And there's no protections. I mean, this is happening a lot too. I mean, Florida gets hit with these things every year, right? I mean, every couple years.
There was a span there for about 10 years when we didn't get hit with any storms, but then all of a sudden we started getting hit with major storms, usually in the neighborhood of like Cat 3, Cat 4, Cat 5, year after year after year for the past few years. And the problem was because we had a decade of no storms, all the trees that would have come down during earlier storms never came down. So when Tallahassee got hit by Hurricane Hermine a couple of years ago, we went for a full week without power because all of a sudden all those trees that would have been cleared out all came down at once.
Wow. That's fucking sucks. So, I mean, with these drops, are you taking them to people's houses or do you have like a central location where they're coming to you?
We usually go to, there are designated areas you can go to drop off supplies and whatnot. But what ended up happening was because with this hurricane, we usually have a week warning. We only had 72 hours. 1 week ago, we heard, oh yeah, there's a hurricane that's going to hit us. 3 days later, it hits us. So a lot of folks didn't get the chance to prep like they normally would and weren't able to get stocked up. So what ended up happening was gas stations were running out of gas on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday leading up to the storm. Because everybody panicked, everybody tried to get gas all at once because it's coming so fast. So even more people were unable to get out of the way. So we go to, usually it's community centers, high schools, churches. There's a church in Quincy we're dropping off with. We're really glad to work with them because they actually get supplies to migrant families who can't necessarily get support from FEMA because what FEMA does is they look at the census population and figure we'll need X amount of stuff, but they don't factor in migrant workers and their families.
Which is very popular in Florida. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity for that in Florida.
Oh, yeah. So we were trying to get, supplies out to them. We hit Quincy, we hit Bluntstown. While in Bluntstown, we heard about Alpha, which is a little town usually about 10 minutes away. Took us an hour to get there with all the trees that were knocked down. I'm talking miles and miles of forest snapped in half. No trees left standing. What a lot of folks don't realize is when in a hurricane, it's not just the hurricane, it spawns tornadoes. and that area got hit with the eye wall and got the full force of a Cat 4 hurricane.
Good
So
God.
when we get to Alpha, we find out that the only distribution center is the police station.
Oh boy.
Warning bells are ringing.
Yeah.
We get up to the police station, and we see 6 police cars from various counties all over Florida. Not just Lee County or Gadsden County or Leon County, but I'm talking like Orange County, Brevard County. They had cops coming up from all over, and they all seem to be in Alpha. Then we noticed there are 3 times as many Border Patrol vehicles there. And it turns out what they were doing, they had the only supplies, and they were trying to snag people when they came in to get help.
I swear
Holy
to fucking God.
Christ.
Yeah,
man.
like this kind of thing is happening right now.
Brian just sat
So-
down. Brian's back from jumping the car. He's called in from Florida, in Alpha, Florida. There, he was doing a drop off for supplies. The police station is where they're handing out the supplies.
Shit.
Yeah, and then arresting people when they show up.
Oh my God. Because, I mean, even if, you know, a DSA or an anarchist group could get a place, the official place is going to be the police station, and that's where people are going to go. That's so scuzzy. It's just so gross.
Well, there's actually even more to it in Alpha. When we went to Quincy and Bluntstown, you have a community that everyone's kind of helping each other and they're trying to pull through. We got to Alpha and we saw nothing but signs that had a variation of "you loot, we shoot."
Right.
Oh, man.
I actually, there was the tailwinds of a tornado hit my neighborhood like 6 years ago, and I went driving around with my buddy, and there were already signs up that said looters will be shot on sight, and this was nothing happened. No trees went down or anything. So like those signs go up immediately. Like it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way, you know?
Well, here's the really messed up part about it. Alpha has a population of 536 people. There was only one FEMA vehicle there of a guy assessing the damage, and that the police department had no supplies.
Yeah.
We didn't give them any because we were trying to get it directly to the people that needed it, and we didn't want the Border Patrol there to grab anyone who comes in who's undocumented. So we started talking to people around town, and I asked one of the guys there, "Hey, has looting really been a problem?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah." And then he points to the cops and goes, "Why do you think they're here?"
Well, they get there as soon as something happens, and they start looking for people trying to get food. That's why they're there.
Why are they here? For legitimate reasons, certainly, surely.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, in Quincy and Bluntstown, we didn't see "you loot, we shoot" signs. We didn't see an overwhelming presence of cops. We saw the community banding together and helping each other out.
Right.
But Alpha was completely militarized.
Yeah, it was
And it
a
was
police state.
wild while we were there.
Is it? Can I
But
ask?
we,
is Alpha like is it just rural, or is it where rich people live? What?
Super rural.
Okay.
Super rural.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Like
were out in the country last night, and Brett and I had actually been talking about how like the people that move to super rural places are generally at times, I feel, very antisocial in a way that they think that we are antisocial, because like I don't encounter, like I live in the city and I don't feel like I'm forced to deal with people often. I don't feel like I'm forced to have conversations with people. I don't feel like people step all over me or anything like that, you know? But they have this thing in their mind that people are like, they have this thing in their mind that they live in a place that's almost gated, even though it's not. And if people show up that aren't from there, then they must be trouble and they must be a problem. And I think that's like a real... There are just certain parts of the country where, like, people who do better than, you know, they're kind of upper middle class a lot of times, maybe middle class, maybe a small business owner. They get their big plot of land and they just don't want to see anybody. And they'll use the police to keep you out. They'll use any means they can to keep you away from there.
Oh, yeah, well, Alpha was definitely doing a good job of that. because we ended up not being able to find a single place we could drop supplies to actually help people that was centralized other than the police station.
Damn.
So we found a group in Bluntstown that was able to communicate with people that live there, because while the official population is like 536, there's at least that many migrant workers.
Yeah, because it's a
They
farm.
couldn't get any supplies.
Because it's where people
Yeah.
do farming. There are going to be people there. So Border Patrol just took it as a good opportunity to sweep up a bunch of people, which has been something they've been doing, since Trump's in office. That's sort of why we're all sitting around trying to I have this renewed kind of interest in the Democratic Party this time, because I know that we're probably going to have to vote for whatever they do, whatever their person is, to get rid of Trump at least. And not that I think that they would even fix the problem if they got in office. Not that I don't think that they would be just as aggressive, but it just feels like we got to do something about it,
Oh, no, definitely. We're kind of hopeful for our governor's race here. Andrew Gillum, who's currently the mayor of Tallahassee, is looking like he's got a good chance for being governor.
Yeah, I've actually seen stuff about him. That is a really encouraging thing. That's another one of those things you look at where a person who has maybe further left politics than the average Democrat might be able to pull into a seat of power and hopefully do something, But that is a shame that they put it at the police station. And the police station are definitely arresting people. They're just kind of, do you have a warrant if they ask for water, and then they sweep them up into the jail? Is that what's happening?
As far as I can tell, it was mostly just Border Patrol trying to sweep up people.
Okay.
The police were more just there lounging around, blocking off roads that weren't blocked except for all the cop cars, and basically just preventing free movement within the town.
Okay. Well, you're doing a good thing. It's good that you're out there still just trying to help people and doing mutual aid, and it's just do what you can within this fucked up system,
Yeah, which, speaking of, there's two more things I want to bring up real quick that I know the news isn't talking about. You know how Mexico Beach is leveled, completely destroyed?
No, I'm just hearing that.
They actually... they're having everybody move out of the town entirely. Everyone that lives there, they're telling them, it's done, it's gone, we're sorry, you got to go live somewhere else. They weren't even able to bring in the cadaver dogs until today to hunt for bodies.
Wow.
So that 18-person body count you keep hearing is probably going to go up by quite a bit in the next few days.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just north of Panama City is Lynn Haven, Florida. There is an apartment complex owned by Pinnacle Property Management that after the hurricane hit, told the 200 or 300 people that live there, yeah, we're going to just close and tear the building down. You guys all need to leave, and you have to have all of your stuff out within the next 3 days or it's going in the dumpster.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
They did that a lot in New Orleans, too. That was one of the things. A lot of times the way that they gentrify cities sometimes is when a hurricane hits, they knock down the number of apartments that are in that area, so that the real estate costs more for people to move back into the area. That happened in New Orleans after Katrina. I was seeing stuff where apartment buildings that held thousands of people were knocked down, and then when they reopened them, they were mixed use buildings that had about 250 apartments in them, which obviously the rent goes up for a mixed use building. And we've done all the complaining we can about mixed use buildings. I don't think they're going anywhere. But that is a tactic that the disaster capitalists is what I've heard them called. That's what they use.
Yeah, man. I'm looking at the footage of Mexico Beach right now. This is unreal. It's just flattened houses for miles.
Oh, yeah. And but something I wanted to point out to everybody is we all talk about climate change and stuff. Something we're going to have to start dealing with is more climate refugees. Because a lot of these folks in Panama City, I've got a comrade who's got some friends there, their house was wiped out. They go back to work at the bar they worked at. Bar owner said, nope, we're done. We're closed. Bye. Yeah. No job. So they ended up moving up to Birmingham to live with some friends for a bit while they hunt for work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of that.
The rest of the country's got to see a lot more of us coming further north as these storms become a lot more common year after year.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I was in Dallas, there was a lot of New Orleans people there.
There were a lot here in Columbus.
That's true. I worked with a couple.
It's funny. Brett was so mad yesterday about hanging out with he said there was Republicans where we were going, and then like one of the things you said to me was like, this fucking climate change stuff, they don't even care about it. And it's like, you're right, man. I'm with you. You know,
Yeah.
these disastrous climate change things. And then like on Thanksgiving, you're going to go have to sit with somebody who's definitely going to say like, I don't really believe in climate change. I don't think that's real. That's fake science.
Well, it's just frustrating that you do have like cordial, very nice people that don't share ugly memes all day, but then like still vote for the people that sell us up the river, you know, when it comes to like the environment and stuff like that.
Well, that's actually about to change, I think, within the Republican Party. Marco Rubio, the wonderful senator from my state, who I called every week for a year and a half, and you see how well that worked. He just said on a news interview that, no, the question isn't whether or not it's climate change caused by people. The question really is, can we really have any policies that will affect it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I think
they're
that's
already
also
quietly positioning themselves.
I think that's also a Democrat thing, though. Like, what could we even do to affect it? Maybe we'll ban plastic bags at grocery stores, and you're like, it's going to take... Like, we can tell you where the biggest polluters are. Those are the people that need to be making changes, you know? My little ass isn't doing anything. I'm doing everything. You know, you're like, sitting around at home like, okay, well, I'm trying not to drive as much, and, like, all this stuff, and I think, what difference does it make if it's just me, you know?
There was
How many 30-second showers can I take to save the planet?
Yeah. What different? I mean, you feel so it feels so helpless because it's the same thing when we talk about like distribution of resources. When you're like, they want to like tax, like you're taxing me to get more money for the state. You're taxing people like a sin tax for cigarettes or something. When you don't have the money. You know, those people don't have the money. Go get it from the people that have it. Go get it from Jeff Bezos. He's the one that's polluting everything, and he's the one that's using all the resources, and is the one that's not paying any taxes. You know, he doesn't pay into anything. And they never want to look at those people. They never want to look at the rich, the ultra rich people. They're not the ones that we should go after. When they're the ones. They they talk about the top 100 polluters.
71% of all greenhouse gases, I believe, was the number.
Yeah, that's who's doing it. That's who we need to stop. It's not us. We can't stop it.
Yeah.
I heard a funny joke the other day talking about whenever we rise up to eat the rich, that we probably shouldn't. Because if you eat something at the top of the food chain, it causes biomagnification and you get all of their toxins. So instead, we should compost the rich first. And then, go from there.
That sounds good.
Grow victory gardens on top of them.
Get all that Botox and all those fancy chemicals they shoot into
Yeah.
themselves in you. Well, hey, thanks for the update. I really appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, no worries. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew about the Border Patrol and what's going on with everybody being forced out by disaster capitalism.
Yeah.
Real quick, if anybody wants to follow me, I'm at Mr. Maxwell Music on Twitter. I'll try to keep posting some updates on what we're seeing and whatnot.
Thank you
we
for
really
calling.
appreciate it, man.
Thanks for calling. That's
All right, cool.
Every time we hear those, every time we do a call-in show around a natural disaster and we hear about the stuff, it's so disheartening to hear about the things that the government is, like the things that they prioritize, like prioritizing having more border control there. It seems sick. It's like something a sick, like it's just something a bad person would do. It's like the worst kind of impulse. Like, and if you did that in your everyday life, if you like, I don't know, if like somebody got kicked, it's like if somebody got evicted from their house and you invited them to come live with you, but they had to hear your lecture every day for the next 5 years or something like that. It's just, it's evil. It's just something you wouldn't do. You know what I mean? It would never be okay to kick people while they're down. But that is like,
No, I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't think that's the what we're going for first.
yeah, that's the central function of like border patrols. Like, they see an opportunity when something like this happens.
I'll choose my words carefully in light of recent events, but almost nothing makes me angrier than this, like, the vigor, like the breathless enthusiasm, like all of this shit. And I know a lot of things were happening well before the Trump inauguration, but like this border patrol shit, this ICE shit, like very little gets me angrier.
I mean, it's the thing. I mean, the thing is like the Democrats will do it, but they're a little nicer about it. They aren't straight up
it's Christmas morning for them.
Well, let me just say, because I've given this a lot of thought too, because the Democrats do it, but I think that ICE runs differently under Democrats. Border Patrol runs differently under Democrats because they have that fear that these liberals are going to come after them and get rid of their jobs. They don't have that fear when Donald Trump is in office. That fear is not there.
Something about it feels different. It's like, I don't know, like
no,
these guys...
It feels mean-spirited. It just feels like ugly and...
These guys had a jerk-off fantasy for decades, and then this fucking monster comes in, and they're like, all right, like they just let their freak fly.
Yeah, they let this is what they've been dreaming of. This is like their like after the bar closes conversations like, man, if we could just take a posse down there and round people up, you know? That's what it just sounds like, that kind of blind, stupid hatred.
And for me, it's not, again, it's not a policy thing, because I don't think Trump I don't know, I'm dumb, you know, but I don't know how many new policies. I guess he instituted the zero tolerance policy at the border, of course, but I really think that, like, a lot of those ICE raids and stuff very early on were just like, we know Trump isn't good. Trump is encouraging this. He would never, he's not going to bust us for this. There's not going to be blowback with the people that count on this, so that we can get away with it. That's why I said, like, I almost feel like interest in the Democratic primary this time, and I know I shouldn't because I did last time too. And you're just like, they're just gonna let you down, but it feels so important. It feels
you don't
like
have to be interested. You just got to show up one day. It's only 2 hours of your time.
Right, I agree. I just think it seems important to start considering what we're gonna have to do here. Like, this is maybe one of those times where it's like we need to stop the leak. You know what I mean? We need to, like, this thing is going. We know this thing is going to crumble, right? And we need to, because I said this to my wife. I think we know this thing's gonna crumble, and I feel like we need to try to make it crumble in the most, like, responsible way possible, because it is happening. Like, we're here when this thing's gonna die. I think, like, it feels like we're here when this America thing's gonna die, but we don't want it, like, we don't want the last days to be hell. And I think the last days could really be hell under a guy like Trump, who you know, floats ideas about charging people to protest, who wants to he thinks protesting is terrorism and things like that. Like, I know we're going to have skin in the game at some point when we're fighting, you know, but I just don't want to see a bunch of people wiped away into, like, prisons and shit like that. And again, I don't think the Democrats are necessarily going to stop that, but I think there's a different attitude within people and within the government when the Democrats are in power. There's obviously going to be those angry people who were birthers and shit like that under Obama, but you cannot say that this country wasn't a little bit different, like, under Obama than it is under Trump. Like, that like, he wasn't, it didn't seem as evil, I guess, but and it probably was.
Go look at your tweets.
I know.
You were calling him
I
evil
realize
every
that.
single day of
I
his
realize that.
presidency.
I do realize that, but that was me. Again, I'm a malcontent, just like those other people. You know, I'm never going to be happy. You know, Bernie Sanders gets elected, and I'll be yelling about Palestine every day, you know, and like, or cocaine being illegal and stuff like that. Like, I'm always going to be pissed.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think that, I mean, what really is frustrating to me is that I would love to see a solid defeat of all of that ideology, so that way we could just go head to head with neoliberalism and just deal with liberals and have them be the right wing. Like, I would rather I don't mind them as the right wing, to be honest. Like, that's fine to have their crazy, convoluted, pro-business, whatever it is, old school, status quo way of thinking. That's way easier to come up against than the wild, like I said, just absolute meanness and stupidity, blind ignorance, all of that, you know?
Right, and like, when the Democrats are the right wing, it's like, we're the mean ones.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, we get to be the mean ones. Right now, I just, over the past 3 years or so, I feel like I don't feel like I did during that time. Like, I did feel like I was the aggro one. I was the one saying, this needs to happen. This needs to change. But I really feel like the other guys are so mean. They're
awful
so
people.
dirty
Yeah.
and dark. And I feel like we can guilt Democrats where we can't do that with them. Nothing we say will make them feel bad.
No,
you know,
they're-
they own all the ugliness within themselves. They love it. They don't care, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, they're hanging out with the white supremacists and the fascism and all that shit. So let's take this next call here. We don't want to be here too damn late. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to?
What's up? This is Jack in Tucson.
What's up? How's it going tonight, Zach? Is it Zach or
I'm
Gak?
good. I'm
Gak?
Jack.
I thought they said Gak.
Gak's a good name.
Gak is cool. Gak's cool.
That
Some
should
people
be
call
my
it
name,
Coke Gak. Well, what's going on tonight, Zach?
I have a shitty boss story or a shitty customer story.
Nice,
Yay.
nice.
Everybody
when I
has
was when I was working at the coffee bar inside of Whole Foods.
Ooh, that is, Whole
Yeah.
Foods is the capital of May I See Your Manager. It's
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
the most May I See Your Manager store, right?
Yep, that's a lot of people that have read a lot of books that said they can get whatever they want from people if they just implement 5 easy tricks.
Okay.
Those are
they
black
give
belt
them- They give the
negotiators.
managers the run for the money. There's like this mean older lady who would just come in and demand steamed heavy cream on the side
On the
and
side.
not want to pay for it.
Whoa,
Oh, that's not. You
weird.
can never get something on the side without paying for it.
There-
I think an extra thing.
There used to be the Waffle House we used to go to that said it used to say you cannot sub a waffle for toast.
They have to
just
do
had to
that.
put
dude.
it up there.
They have to do that, dude, because people do expect that stuff.
Oh, I know.
You know, remember that
Yeah.
guy we saw that one night that found out pancakes were like, you could get a pancake as a side, and he just ordered 47 pancakes. Like he kept making the waitress go back and get him more pancakes.
Right.
I mean, people just.
Right, but that's not that. That's
Yeah,
not like
true.
being like,
Yeah.
hey, could you just fill up my drink cup with spaghetti and meatballs?
So did they charge you?
I mean, trying to rip us off, that's whatever.
Yeah,
But
that's
she was
fine.
just mean about it. And it got to the point where people would see her walk in the door and try and take their break
Oh fuck!
and leave me.
So you'd explain it to her every time that that's not a side item.
Yeah, she would want to like pour it herself and like in front of you in case you didn't give her enough. Several times she just asked for slightly warmer. Yeah, she wanted like 100 really hot too. And
Like
it was
why? What is the like to pour
Yeah.
in your milk?
To pour your coffee into? Or?
yeah, it was to pour into her coffee and was real mean about it. And
Did-
then one day I come in and my manager tells me that they got in a screaming fight and she didn't show up after that.
Oh, perfect. So she got taken care of.
Yeah.
See, this is what we need is, like I was saying, some sort of customer court where we need to be able to have like a public place where you can say, this fucking person makes working here miserable.
Yeah.
We can't let them be coming in here anymore.
That's the thing. Like I like the idea of a customer court where they can be just kicked out of a business. Like, sorry, you can't come
Yeah.
to the Whole Foods no more.
And the only reason like she got dinged for it was because she was mean to the manager, you know?
Right,
Oh yeah. Because I'm sure
she's allowed to be mean to me all she wants.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's your job.
That's how it works. And the managers have all the confidence in the world to go at the customer because they know they're not going to be the one that gets in trouble. They know that shit's not going to roll downhill. And they always want you to please the customer. But when the manager gets involved, it's like, no. I mean, the thing about managers that always cracks me up is when somebody asks to see the manager and you go to get the manager and they're like, no, you need to handle this.
Oh, yeah. I've had that a lot.
It's the worst experience. It's the worst
You
feeling.
just gotta have the same conversation with the manager listening, and then they go away.
Yeah, I always had it like when I worked in call centers, they'd be like, "Can I speak to your supervisor?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, let me see if I can get my supervisor on the phone." I would get up and ask the supervisor to get on the phone, and they'd be like, "You need to like take care of this. This is not a supervisor job. And I'm like, it is if they ask, man.
They leave you hanging?
Yeah, they would make me go back to the phone and tell them no. And
You
it was
never-
just like,
no.
okay.
In those situations, we would just trade headsets and pretend to be the manager.
That would have been a smart thing to do. I never did that. I always just would get so locked
Or
in
just
these.
put a funny voice on.
Yeah.
Do some different accent.
I mean, I got locked in a lot of really bad interactions with customers in the call center. I think that was the place where I had the worst interactions, because it just felt like I can't do anything about this. I can't hang up on you, and you can just say whatever you want. And like, as long as you don't cuss, I can't do anything about it. And I didn't really hang up on people when they cussed either, because I didn't really care that much. It didn't hurt my feelings or anything.
Don't even notice it.
Yeah, who cares? I get cussed at all day. It's fine. That's crazy, though. Well, thanks for calling in.
Oh, yeah.
Have a great night. We're good. We're gonna get these calls.
Thanks,
in.
you too.
We're gonna make these calls.
Yeah,
in.
we got some more people are calling. I didn't realize Jason put the number on the live stream there, so I'm sure more people are getting the number from
Well,
that.
we're going 3 hours, so whatever happens, Brett. Don't feel guilty.
All right, who's on the line here? Can you hear us? Is it Skelly?
Skelly welly, Skelly boys, a Skelly girls, a non-binary skeleton. Skeletons are all non-binary because you can't see their wing wongs. Like, you can't see their area. It's like a hole.
Right. It's a mystery.
Yeah, so non-binary skeleton.
Oh my god.
You loser, you had it
God.
muted.
I had it muted accidentally.
it's
Oh,
Elizabeth.
hey, how's it going? How's everybody doing?
Hey!
Hi. It is a non-binary skeleton.
Oh, hey, what's up? How's it going? Is this
Yo.
Elizabeth?
It's Elizabeth
Yeah,
and
and Milo.
Milo, holy shit, we've been wanting to hear from you. I called in sick last week. I apologize to everybody for that. How's it going?
God, it's going pretty well. I just got home for my first day at my new job.
Where you working?
New and first.
New and first.
Oh, I'm not going to ask you
I'm
where
just
you're working
at-
on Street Fighter. Are you working at a restaurant?
No, it's kind of like a deli at a grocery store.
Okay. That's
It's not
good.
bad.
No, it's like a real job.
It's like a real job.
It's not like a retail versus
No.
cash. I mean that is a real job, but I think
You're doing? Are you doing? Are you like doing a 9 to 5 thing?
Pretty much.
Like 40 hours?
not those hours. But
Not those hours, but like I got a schedule at least.
You're getting four?
Okay.
Are you getting 40?
Yes.
Oh
yeah,
wow.
around, I think like around
Around
that.
that, yeah.
So how's life outside of the cult?
I'm living the dream.
That is so. Did you guys?
That's pretty
Did you two
great.
find weed by any chance?
Oh my God,
No.
we haven't.
That's
And
okay.
I have some very, very sad news.
Okay.
So I am hopefully going to be getting a job.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think I have it pretty much. I just need to get contacted, by the HR people. I already had the interview with the person who would actually be hiring me, but just so it's a job at my college, just a community college, and it's a janitor position, which is pretty cool.
I always
think
wanted
I'd be
that.
a lot like Goodwill Hunting, except just dumb as shit.
Nice.
Elizabeth, I wanted that job. I am not lying, and I'm not being patronizing or anything. Janitor always seemed like I can do this. This is something I can handle. They get paid.
absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, cleaning shit up is easy.
Yeah.
I was afraid of cleaning shit
Yeah, I know.
up for a big part of my life, but now I do it all the fucking day long.
I know. At some point in your life, you're probably going to be just cleaning shit up all the time anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it sounds like a job that I could actually hold for a long time and feel cool about it.
Yeah.
Not cool, but I mean, feel good because it doesn't seem so soulless. I mean,
No,
I'm
it's-
actually doing something with my hands and body.
It is very
Not just-
necessary.
Yeah.
And it's also what you just said there, doing stuff with your hands and body. That was always super important to me because I worked at a call center for a period of time, and that didn't work for me at all. It didn't work for me at all. I needed to do something. I needed to be moving around and doing stuff. You're gonna like it, I think. And at a community college, they generally pay decent, right?
It's 25 cents, 50 cents over minimum wage.
Okay.
So,
That's not decent.
That's not.
not great. But
Hey, I applied at my community college when I was there. I probably applied for 7 jobs there and got turned down for every single one of them, even after I graduated college. So, you know.
oh yeah, I applied for a bunch, but they all just like they just took forever to like get back to you.
Yeah. It's just
Oh,
like when
but
you're
the
trying
bad
to get
news-
financial aid at a community college.
The bad news is I'm going to get drug tested.
Just once, right? It's not randoms.
I think so.
Yeah, no, it's just one.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure just once, which is fine because I haven't done any drugs, but which is sad because I would like to do drugs.
I'm so happy for you though. Like that feeling of like going into a drug test and knowing for 100% certain that you're going to pass. That's something I haven't experienced in my whole entire life. And it's just a really beautiful thing to me to think about. Like, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to pee in that cup, and nothing's going to come up. They're going to dip their little thing in there. It'll take a look, and it'll be like, that's the cleanest pee I ever saw.
Drug test.
You do?
Yeah, I had
about
to take a drug test, and I was afraid something would come up, even though I've never done a drug in my life. and I was still afraid, like, oh shit, what if? Oh my god.
What if they know that I want to?
Yeah. What if that shows up?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be working. I will say, Milo, you're working at a place where you're going to be able to find weed very soon.
Oh yeah, no, the dude I was working with today.
Oh my god, I did not do this.
Oh well, no. He didn't offer me anything, but he was just saying like, "Oh, where are you from?" Like, "Oh, I'm from California." I was like, "Oh, holy shit, I want to go there one day." They have this thing legalized where I really like.
That person is going to hook
and
you
then,
up.
Like, after a bit, he like went out to smoke weed.
Then let me say something here. That person just did what that guy on Undercover Boss botched, right? When you talk to somebody about marijuana at your job, the first time you do it, you have to act like coy about it. You need to be like, hey, feel that person out. That's It's so great that you got a job. Like you're really doing this thing. That's really awesome. How is like the family stuff going?
I don't know. They haven't contacted me in like a day or two. Oh, but like, when was this last week?
Yeah, this is sometime last week. This is really great.
This is sometime last week. I don't know. My dad was being weird as always, saying like, "Oh, we miss you. Oh, nothing's the same without you. Oh, blah blah blah." And then like out of the blue, he's like, "Can we order you guys a pizza?"
Well, that's nice.
Okay.
Danger.
Yeah.
Danger.
Yeah. Which is fine, but like I don't know if he like thought it'd make up for the years of abuse.
Yeah.
But I mean that was nice, I guess. But I don't know if he expected me to be like, "Oh my God, thank you so much, Father. You're the best. Oh my God, I wonder why I ever left home."
Yeah, there's probably more of a conversation that needs to be. Maybe buy a pizza and then have a long talk over that pizza.
Yeah. So are they trying to get you to move back? Is that happening, or are they kind of accepting that
they're
you've
like
made a decision?
No, they realize that I made the decision, but like they're constantly saying like, "Oh, there's some stuff going on in the cult, and like it might be the end of days. You should return soon."
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a good threat. I mean, that's a decent threat, though, to be like, you're...
Yeah, considering that they traumatized me with that, threat of Armageddon, it does kind of stir fear in me, but I'm like, I'd rather die.
I want to promise you that Armageddon is not going to happen to you. I'm just going to say that to you right now. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Don't worry about Armageddon. That's not...
Yeah, and they keep saying like there's some strange things happening, and they sent me an article of like, because one of the signs that Armageddon is coming soon is that I don't know, big government dudes are gonna shut all religion.
No, we lost them. We lost them.
Hello.
Oh no!
They turned Skelly at the end.
They Skellied at the beginning and Skellied at the end. It happens,
Shit, was it the man?
Hello?
Oh, you're here. You're there. We just lost you for a second, but you're back.
No idea why.
So
That's so strange.
they said that the
Good
government.
now?
Yeah, they said the government's going to start outlawing religion.
Yeah, exactly. And like the thing is, all religions are going to be outlawed, and only the Jehovah's Witnesses will continue on being the true religion. And then like they'll be persecuted because they continue their religion and not because they're bad.
That's that is a real that's really like hating on all the other religions. It's like as soon as the government makes religion illegal, Christians are going to be like, I ain't Christian anymore. Whoa, hold on a second. But Jehovah's Witnesses will be the strong ones that are like, I will continue not having holidays.
Yeah. So I've only done some precursor Googling, but that's not happening, right?
I don't think the end of the
doing that.
I don't think Donald Trump's going to do that. Maybe in his second term, after he beats the Democrats, that might be something he'd look into. But he can't do that until after the election, at least. That is wild. That I can't imagine the thing that I'm using. So if I was sort of estranged from my daughter, if my daughter had left me, and then I get on the phone with her and I say, the world's probably going to end, and I'd hate to be in heaven with you in hell. That would suck.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what they're saying.
That sounds... But they believe in this. Was your dad... Can I ask you, was your dad, did he convert to Jehovah's Witness, or is it, kind of...
No, all of my family were born in the religion.
Okay,
that's
so
strong.
They probably are kind of freaking out, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Like how many 3 or 4 generations, right?
Yeah. 3 or 4 generations of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Wow, that is scary. That is, but it's not your responsibility. It is not your responsibility to make them feel better about their choices, and it's not your life. Your life is your life, and being out and about and doing the things you want to do and living out loud is that's the best thing you can do for your mental health. I mean, that's what fixed me. Being able to be who I am all the time is what fixed me. And I imagine that it just feels good. We even talked about this with Elizabeth when she moved out, right? You move out, you get to be who you are all the time. It changes your mental state completely.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and you start to feel you start to feel so much more free, and it means that you achieve more.
I don't feel like I have to put on different personalities for people anymore. I can just be me. Because all the time around my parents, I had to be a certain way. Around cult friends, I had to be another certain way. And now I'm just me, I guess. I don't know.
Are there? Can I ask if are they? I guess so my wife her parents were Mormon for a period of time. Mm-hmm. So now sometimes the Mormons will come hunting my wife down and try to, they'll be like, you should try this Mormon thing again. It's really cool. You'd really love it. And she always talks them to go away. Are they going to start sending Illinois Jehovah's Witnesses to talk to you, do you think?
I'm pretty sure they will eventually. Because my dad also sent me addresses of local churches of the Jehovah's Witnesses. Go talk to them. They'll help you. They'll give you a place to stay, or I don't know.
And you can't do it halfway, right? Is this something that you because you said that you do have some of the stuff still in your mind. This isn't a sort of religion that you can do halfway at all, where you could go to the church and talk to them, but then still live the life that you're trying to live now. That's not a possibility.
No. That's not a possibility.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought that when we were going to pick up the pizza, that there would be some Jehovah's Witnesses out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does seem like a trap.
Hi, Heidi. Here's your pizza.
Yeah, I was trying to.
That the world is going to end very soon.
Well, I was just wondering if it was a ruse to get your address too.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, that is a
what I
possibility.
They have it,
right?
Yeah, they were. I didn't want to make them think I was leaving into somewhere unsafe and
okay.
I don't know.
No,
Just to put their minds at ease to leave me alone a bit more.
Just so that there's no police or anything like that.
Right.
Well, I'm really glad that you're doing well. You sound even happier than you did the last time, which to me is
oh God, yeah.
It sounds like things are really going great, and you got a job. How is working? Yeah. How was your first day at work at a job?
My first day was great. It was like, pretty much what I expected. It's work, but like it feels a lot better now because I'm working. I decided to work. Yeah. I'm doing this for myself.
Hey, how excited are you? How excited are you, Brett, for the Milo calls yelling about their boss? Okay, I'm just a Street Fighter that calls in and yells about my boss.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I guess everyone was nice enough.
Yeah.
I'll call back in case I have any stories. Don't worry.
That would be beautiful, and again, really keep us updated on this because I like I said, I think it's really brave. I said this last time. I think it's really brave what you did, and it's stuck with me, and it's stuck with a lot of the listeners, and it's stuck with Brett since you called in. It's very inspiring to us, and you need to know that like a lot of people are 40 years old and afraid to do what you've done. You know what tell your parents like I'm done and like this you don't have power over me anymore. Like, people in their 30s are still afraid to do that. So what you've done is incredibly brave, and it's really cool that you did it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
All right, you two have
we have another quick thing. So,
oh, no.
I've been contacted by a bunch of military recruiters, like 2 or 3 military recruiters recently over text. And can we do a quick dramatic reading of the transcript?
Yes.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Absolutely.
Oh, God.
All right, I will be playing Staff Sergeant Stock, and you will be playing me, Milo.
Oh, God. Okay.
Hello, this is Staff Sergeant Stock, U.S. Army recruiter. If you would like some information about the Army and Army Reserve, feel free to let me know. We have opportunities in the medical field, mechanical engineering, law enforcement, and many more. If you are not interested, then state that you are not interested.
Okay, I apologize in advance. Hello, Mr. Sergeant, sir? I do have some questions for you.
Okay.
Well, I was just wondering why you're part of an organization that serves the interests of capitalists. Don't you think it's strange that the Army colonizes and puts in place puppet government in parts of the world that we can extract resources from? I'm sorry, I just don't understand why it's okay to murder children and innocents, or even people trying to gain advantage from their regions, so our cars can be fueled cheap.
Well, I think it's strange that you smell like a toddler using her crayon. As far as the children and innocents go, are you watching news from the Vietnam time frame? And then I sent in like a bunch of we murder children stuff still.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. They're on text message now. They have to put up with some long messages.
That's great that you're making them put up with it, though. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, so...
Oh, no. And it's like, oh, right, Vietnam era in quotation marks. But, 1, fuck the troops. 2, fuck the United States. And 3, I will never join your terrorist organization. Never contact me again.
Then leave the country if you feel that way.
Oh, of course.
And the next message, oops, contacted you again. I was just so shocked that, they didn't be like, okay, have a nice day.
Yeah, I mean,
contact you again.
You went in on them, though, so they had to do like that. Here's the thing about what happened there. As soon as you sent the first message, they argued with you in their head for the next. They're still doing it. They're laying in bed right now arguing with you in their head. You know,
True.
I do want to say that I love how at the beginning of this, when they're listing all the things you can do in the military, none of them are kill people. Here, you can be an engineer, you can be a doctor, you can be like nothing. It's like there's another job that you're ignoring that people do.
Yeah, it's like, wait, what are you engineering? What are you doing electricity for? Oh, right, murder.
Yeah, what are you engineering over there? What's the engineering that's happening? Well, thanks for calling in. We got to try to get some of these people on before we cut them off so we're not rude to them.
Yeah.
All right,
totally.
thanks for your time, guys. See ya.
See ya.
All right, let's see who's on the line next here. I think we can get them all in here. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to? Hello.
Hello.
Everybody's
All the
skellies.
skellies. Everybody skeletons coming over tonight.
It is Halloween.
It is. It's scary.
It's
We're
time
gonna go
for-
to a haunted house
Oh,
this
wait,
weekend.
that one got dropped. They must have
Brett, we gotta
finally
go.
passed.
We're gonna go to a haunted house this weekend.
Maybe.
We try and work that out.
Okay.
Is the haunted hoochie still a thing?
We're not doing
No.
that. I don't want to get groped by some. I don't want my wife to get groped by some weirdo. We're going to the real professional scary boy.
We're going to the 13th floor, I think.
It's according to the ads, it says it's the scariest one in the country, which I believe.
It's a traveling one.
Yeah, I believe it. Whatever,
All right, let's see who's on the line here next. Thank you for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to?
Hey, this is John from Austin.
What's up, John? How's it going?
Hey, not too bad. Man, I just got out of the Army, and that was a nightmare scenario.
Congrats,
with the
dude.
recruiter. Because I got out just in time because they were going to send me, like, you get to a point where they're going to send you either to, like, train people or, like, to go to recruiting duty, which everybody says it's the worst thing they've ever done. Like, I can't even imagine.
It does like sort of sound like it roughly translates to the worst. Like it sounds like the worst kind of customer service you could ever possibly do is recruitment. And it's also the same thing with like don't be a drill sergeant. I can't imagine a drill sergeant being able to listen to Street Fight. I'm like reading this book about a guy that's in boot camp, and I'm like, I hate those people. I hate these drill sergeants. I really do hate them.
You didn't like our
I know.
Army?
I didn't even back then, and that's sort of one of the things I told the recruiter when I had to talk to him back when I was 18. It was just like, I don't want some guy yelling at me all the time.
Right.
And then they're like, oh, they don't do that. It's like that's like in movies and stuff. And I'm like, bullshit. They don't do. Don't lie. It's
They yell at you.
Yeah, I know. There's no way they don't scream at you. Like they didn't. That like thing doesn't just come out of whole cloth. You know what I mean? Like it's not something that people are making up. And like I said, the way that military propaganda works in this country, it's probably worse than what you see in a movie.
Well, the drill sergeants those guys are actually really funny, and they're kind of blue collar. Like I would much prefer a drill sergeant to an Army officer.
Okay. I have heard,
I might be getting a little salty there.
They do have funny jokes. I will say sort of that they sometimes will have some funny insults and stuff where you're like, oh, that's a good one. Okay, you got me there. But I just don't want to get screamed at. I'm a guy that I can't stand getting screamed at.
Yeah, and they get to practice too. It's like stand-up comedy. The guy didn't come up with all those jokes on the spot, right?
Right.
He gets to own the context.
Do you think there's a joke book that they give them? Like, here, you can say, I didn't know they stack shit this high. Have you thought about that one yet? Have you thought about, whatever? Have you called a guy have you called a guy fruity lately? Like,
If it doesn't hit, you just have a new batch of noobs in 8 weeks, and you can try it out on the next people.
What? See,
Workshop it.
Here, look. I just solved a problem. If we abolish all this stuff, if we quit all the war and stuff, we'll get them a stand-up gig. Let them do 15 minutes every night somewhere. They'll love it. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah. Good
Except
trade.
for you have to make the people in the audience laugh. Like that, you take away all their power when they when they're the performer.
Right.
So
yeah, there's a lot of guys that think they're comedians in the Army, but they actually just always have a captive audience.
Yeah. There's a lot of bosses. I mean, that's just like any sort of authority. Because I've had a lot of bosses who have been like, even after I was a comedian, like when I worked at the camera store and stuff, there were always people like telling me jokes and stuff like, yeah. And I was like,
Oh man,
no,
yeah,
it's not working.
Thank
for
God
me.
I never have to sit through that again.
Well, what's going on tonight?
Yeah, I called to talk about some other stuff, but I wanted to sign off on the scooters. We got to, Austin was like ground zero for one of those scooter things, and I got to ride one of those things around for the first time. And yeah, that thing goes like 15 miles per hour, and I was on that thing with like flip flops on and no helmet.
I know.
And you could definitely get it airborne.
You could lose a toe. You could actually, if you're on one of those with flip flops and you're actually going, you could lose. That's a toe loss right there. I can guarantee it. I'm not that brave. but I wasn't in the military either.
Yeah, and you know, they they cover their ass because you have to take off a bunch of stuff that, like, I'm wearing a helmet, I'm wearing you know, closed-toed shoes, and one of the things you agree to do is not to go downhill, at least on the scooter that I was on. And how are you going to go from any A to any B without ever going downhill? I'm not sure.
I think they're
like
talking
if there was some
about
definition.
Because I went down a hill and I was going 22. I was like, my neighborhood has a big hill on it, and I was trying to get home, and I was on one of those, and that thing said like 22 miles an hour, and I was like, yay!
Yeah, the flashing red.
Yeah, I'm going right now. I mean, I enjoy them. You know, I want to get airborne on one. I think I'm going to try and get airborne on one now.
I'm going to see it.
They are pretty great. Like, it's really hard to argue against, like how much easier they make it to get around an urban environment.
Yeah, I mean, really, all the arguments against them make some sense to me. Like, it does suck that they let the people leave those things laying around, but they hassle homeless people. You know what I mean? Like, I totally get all that stuff. Like, some of the arguments are really on point, and I get it. But there's also just some of it is just like, these things aren't too, like, people like them. And, like, I just hate to be the guy that says this thing you like, you're not allowed to do it anymore. I don't want to be that person ever, you know?
Yeah, and you can buy your own. I got an ad. I don't know how I got the ad, but I think they cost like about $800. Like, you can buy one from Amazon.
Dang.
But I think people are just used to just grabbing those things, so you'd really have to, like, take care of it, I think.
Yeah.
Someone would try to grab it and ride off with it if you didn't secure it, right?
True. That is true. That is very true.
Hey, so what I was going to call about was a bad boss job.
Okay.
I'll let you guys go because I know you're getting toward the end here. So it's actually, I really like my boss at this. I worked at this record company. In my town, it was like, it's kind of a regional chain now, but there used to be just like one or two of these, like, this local record company, and like everybody wanted to work there because it was like all the cool kids worked at. This was back when people still bought like CDs, and so you get to work there, and they pay you like $5 an hour, but they still had, like, people were always still coming in with their little resumes. And so I got the job somehow, even though I was kind of a square. But they installed so they got to the point where they were installing all these cameras because they were, like, branching out, and they were getting, you know, they were going like tri-state. And so management was always, like, looking at these cameras, and you kind of hear, like, the managers would be like, well, so and so was, you know, they saw so and so leaning when, you know, there was no customers. And I ended up, like, being one of the guys that got a talking to. And my manager, I remember, like, it was like $5.50 an hour, and the dude brought me in, and he's like, yeah, you know, there was nobody there, and you guys were supposed to be, like, sorting CDs, and, you know, I just need to get my money's worth out of you.
Oh, my God.
You did. You got it when I showed up today.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, did someone tell you to say that? Because that's the most insane thing that anyone's ever said to me at a job where I'm not even making, like, I haven't even broken $6 an hour, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's disrespectful.
So, yeah, and I think it's just understood now. I think that might be like a thing of the past where, like, we used to not have cameras everywhere, because I think now it's just kind of understood that you're always being watched.
Yeah, I remember they were always hovering when I worked in my retail positions.
Yeah, and
I went to.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
So I'm just like, we weren't used to having all these cameras looking at us. So the next job I got was actually at this sandwich place, and they were like, by the time I was about to leave, they were putting in their new camera system, and they were gonna, and of course, you think the cameras are gonna look out at the floor where, like, shrinkage is happening, but no, they were like, the two main cameras are looking down at the registers, you know, to make sure the employees are doing the right thing.
Right. They're spying on. They're making sure they get every single minute is spent on doing work.
Yeah, they need to get their money's worth out of you. So when I left, it was like, I remember at the time, like, thinking it was kind of fucked up, and now I think it's kind of rad. But, like, we were closing up one time, and this one dude just was kind of a scumbag, but he ran out of that place with, like, a 30 rack of some kind of beer, and, like, just got away with it. And that beer must have tasted good.
Oh yeah, that's a good. I mean, tastes like free beer.
Yeah, like free tastes good, but I feel like stolen beer must be like another category above free.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah.
But my last night at that place, I jumped up on the counter and I smeared like a little bit of Crisco on each one of those cameras, and then I got the fuck out of there, because they hadn't set it up yet. They were like, "We're gonna take care of all this shit that we're dealing with these cameras," and I should have gone back, but now it's like, this was like over 10 years ago, and I just wish I could see those guys' faces when they try to fire up those cameras, and like they just look out of focus no matter what they do.
Yeah, they can't figure a way to get them work. That's
'Cause
fucking hilarious.
these guys, this was my first experience with like, when you guys talked about the small business tyrant, like I know that kind of like rang a bell in a lot of people's heads, but like this place was like, it was another local place. It's a local sandwich place. And they had this thing where like they looked at their numbers, and they were making most of their money out of the fridge, because they're selling like soda for a huge markup, and they're selling beer out of the fridge.
Right.
So they were like, we ran the numbers, and we're making most of our money out of the fridge. So what we're gonna do is for this whole week, if everything is stocked all the way to the back, you know how there's like a little ramp like that goes to the back of the little walk-in fridge.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, it has to be solid all the way to the back for a whole week, and we'll give everybody a raise. And you know how that's gonna go. So like everybody, all the people are like, everybody's all excited to get their raise, and I think it was a raise, and they were all excited to like stock the fridge 100% all the time. And it didn't matter if you could like grab something out of the front. They wanted it stocked all the way to the back for some reason.
Okay.
And then, of course, Friday night happens, and they're like, "Oh yeah, there was one. Like the Diet Coke wasn't all the way filled up, so nobody's getting a raise."
Oh
God, they
and
always.
I was like, what were they thinking? Like that. Like, how could you ever think that was a good idea to just a disconnect between the reality and what these guys looking at the books are thinking? It's completely crazy.
Yeah. Well, they just see you as the most. Like a lot of people, the bosses see the employees as the biggest inconvenience of having the job. They're the biggest problem, the biggest cost. And I hate that they hate like secretly, or like, I just wish I could do away with these things that drive me crazy.
Yeah, they're assholes.
Yeah, I guess it's the thing that they have the most irritation with is the employees that actually have to go out and do all the real work.
Well, but they're just. I mean, the thing about it is it is just all a number situation where they're like, I don't want this to cost any money on my books, but they don't understand of what you're going to get from people when you only pay them $5 an hour. You can't expect much from them.
Or what the contract is. Like, they don't understand that like you're there, you're needed too. They feel like they're doing the whole thing. Oh, this is all me. No. You couldn't do this by yourself. You needed me. You needed employees. So guess what? I have to deal. I mean, I can't imagine working with music geeks anyway. Like, just the guy that has the big record collection that's like, I'm going to open up a music store. I would just be miserable all day. I'm like, can we finally listen to Korn or something like that? Jeez. Like, making me listen to all this hip music.
Yeah, we used to have to, this might be controversial, but we used to, like, the employees used to get to put, like, their CD in, and there was a while there where someone was putting in a Bob Dylan record, and that guy just sounds like a kazoo for, like, 60 straight minutes. Yeah. I feel like I should have gotten combat pay for listening to that Bob Dylan record. Like, I listen to Jimi Hendrix play some Bob Dylan music, but, oh, my God, I don't know how people listen to his, like, the stuff he actually plays.
Yeah, I've never been into it myself.
It's an acquired taste, right?
It has to, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you have to be from a certain generation and yelled at all the time if you don't think Bob Dylan's the greatest. It's kind of the thing.
Certain generation, yeah.
It is a fun voice to do.
It's fun to imitate it.
Well, thanks for calling in. We got like 2 more probably to get in, right? We got 2 more to get in, and we're gonna make it.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for calling.
Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to?
Hey, what's up? How's it going, guys?
This is Ben from Ithaca.
Wait, I didn't even say my name. How did you know?
I'm intuitive like that. I'm psychic, and I know the listeners.
You've been found out.
You've been caught. What's going on tonight, Ben?
Oh, no. Oh, shit, you guys are cops. I knew it.
What's going on tonight,
Anyways.
Ben? We're trying to get them all in tonight.
Okay, hey, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Elizabeth and Milo. I heard that Milo said that their parents were still trying to buy them pizza. And I wanted to offer to buy them very non-religious pizza every week.
That's a good idea.
Because, Street Fighters sent me stuff, so I want to do the same. So, I'm the only Ben on the Facebook group with a direction as their last name. I don't really want to out myself, but if they find me on the Facebook group, I'm very willing to buy non-religious pizza every week for them until they can get their own pizza.
His name is Ben Wright. Is that?
Yeah, Ben Wright. Ben, not west, not north. Not
Ben
east.
left. Ben,
not no, yeah, exactly. Anyways, I don't really have. I work in retail still. I have a million bad customer stories, but I have a bad coworker story this week because I work in a place that. Oh shit! I always call myself Ben from Ithaca, so I can't say the name of my store, but it's Schmarget. I work at Schmarget.
Okay,
I know that place.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you know Schmarget, right? But I work there, and this week someone shot up in our bathroom and got caught. And the only reason they got caught is because they make us do hourly bathroom checks now, and someone who was doing a bathroom check looked under a stall and saw that someone had a needle on the floor.
Were they okay?
Yeah, they were totally okay. They just put their needle on the floor because they were preparing to do drugs.
Okay.
And the position that I'm in is kind of the person who runs the front end. But I don't get paid for it, so I don't get paid to care about anything.
Right.
I just have to tell people to go to break and stuff.
Did they tell on the needle guy? Did they tell on him, or did they just come out?
Well, it was a woman, but the person that was doing my job that day actually called the cops on this person, and the person got arrested, and their life was probably fucking ruined over it.
That's the worst possible way to respond to that, you know?
Yeah, exactly, because it wasn't like this person was overdosing or anything. We do bathroom checks, and the person who was doing it saw a needle on the floor, and I don't know, I've been thinking about it all week, and I actually argued with the people, the person who was. I also work at a place that sells coffee in the store half of the week. And on this day, I was working in that place, and the person that does that job came in and was bragging about the fact that they came across this and called the cops. And so I got in kind of an argument with them, and that's how I found out about it. And I don't know, I just wanted to I don't know how to feel about it, because it's weird, because the person that did it is someone that doesn't make more than me. You know, it's a person that can't get by based on their job, but there's this societal notion that if someone does drugs in public, that you have to call the cops on them, and it's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, she basically whoever did the call them did what the DARE program was all prepping us to do. You know, I can imagine it not being a very popular opinion to not call the cops on somebody doing that.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I was talking to someone else who's also a Street Fighter about it, like, right after it happened. And it was, it was like a weird argument because I'm the one, like, dissenting opinion in this, like, store that's like, well, you kind of ruined this person's life and it's fucked up. Like, you didn't find someone OD and you found someone doing drugs, and instead of, like, trying to help them, you called the cops and this person got arrested.
Yeah.
But, like, the popular opinion, like, among, like, everybody is, like, you shouldn't do drugs in public. But I don't think a bathroom stall is very public. I mean, there's no camera in there or anything.
It's not a public space.
Yeah, and they're probably just going to do some shopping. That's the other thing is people believe that you do hard drugs and then you turn into a maniac and start acting out, you know?
Yeah. It's kind of a bummer because it makes me, like, feel very I like Ithaca, where I live, is a very, like, liberal space, but, like, when you come into contact with stuff like this, you kind of see the disconnect from, like, you as a person who, like, I don't know, like, I don't feel like doing drugs makes you a criminal. I mean, like, obviously you guys don't either, but it's weird to meet, like, other, like...
popular opinion.
Yeah. Even among, like a town, like, Ithaca is considered, like, a little Portland, I guess, so, like, it's weird to meet, like, other people who are, like, middle-of-the-road liberals, and you think you're gonna, like, find some sort of common ground, but they're like, if you do drugs in public, you should get arrested. But it's like, why? Because, like, you're going to get arrested and you're going to get your life ruined. It's not going to do anything to help you by way of addiction or anything else.
Yeah, we have a pretty interesting bill coming up for vote, issue 1, which is going to get rid of... What's it doing, Brian?
No prison time, basically, for drug charges. I think it's an uphill battle, though. I really think there's so much dark money rolling into the city, and people, and we're so ravaged by the opiate epidemic that, you know, this is going to be a hard sell. But I think maybe because so many people have experiences with this sort of thing, that it might make it through because people are tired of seeing their family get thrown in jail for their problems, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, obtaining,
I hope
possessing,
so,
and
because-
using drugs can only be considered a misdemeanor.
I hope so, because, like, I'm from a small town that, like, is, like, I mean, it's like a middle-class town, but like every middle-class town, it's being kind of ravaged by the opioid epidemic, but it's a very, like, hard-on drugs kind of community, so, like, you kind of see the flip side of it where people are, like, punished to the full extent for, like, being addicts, and it really sucks. And I hope to see that change, because my whole family, like, I come from a very, like, poor family, and everybody in it has been ravaged by some sort of addiction, and my whole childhood was kind of like visiting people in jail because they got arrested for doing drugs or something, and it sucks.
Yeah.
For sure, man. Yeah, that sucks that happened. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. We are the way we are because we're extremely frustrated with regular folks and their stupid, harmful opinions as well. So I understand that fight.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe someday they'll remember what you said to them and have a change of heart.
Maybe. Hey.
You won't know unless you engage with them, right?
Yeah, for real.
Well, thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Real quick before I go, I just want to remind Elizabeth and Milo to contact Benjamin with not North, not East, not West last name. I will buy pizza for you. Non-religious pizza.
Okay. Nice. All right. Thanks for calling in, Ben. We're gonna get this last call out of the way, right?
Yep.
Depending, maybe two, but
Thank you for calling Street
Hey,
Fighter.
what's up?
Howdy.
Hey, this is Patrick Afer from Eugene, Oregon.
What's up, Patrick? How's it going?
Oh, man, I'm all right. Just got off work an hour ago, and I got to walk my happy ass home smoking nasty cigarillos, but, you know.
All right. It's a nice walk, though. What's going on tonight?
Oh, not much. Girlfriend broke up with me a little bit ago, and I just kind of wanted to call in and take my anger out and just say Nazis are pieces of shit, and I just want to bitch about Nazis.
Okay, go for it.
You were dating a Nazi?
Huh?
Were you dating a Nazi?
No, I was dating, like, a hardcore fucking liberal.
Oh, gotcha.
That just couldn't get into any of the leftist shit, and that wasn't even the problem with the relationship. But no, I just fucking wanted to call and say that Nazis are all pieces of shit and all that good stuff. I knew a Nazi, and I worked with one back when I lived in Lincoln City a couple years ago. And this fellow was like this totally spun out, always angry as fuck. Like, he'd be manning the register, and he'd see a black couple walk up, and he'd throw his hands down and be like, I can't do this. He'd go hide in the back and make me ring them up because he didn't want to be in the same room with these black people. I'm like, what the fuck? So I just constantly gave him shit, constantly made him feel bad, constantly did everything to irritate him. And he eventually got really depressed because he couldn't deal with it and just left.
Good.
Like, I made him feel so bad for being a fucking Nazi that he just got all depressed. He's like, I can't do this job anymore, and he left.
Good.
And he was like getting so mad at customers and yelling and screaming and like ripping his shirt off. Like, he was nuts.
He would rip his shirt
And he
off.
just
I knew
couldn't
guys
deal with
like
me.
that. I knew guys that would rip their shirt off when they got mad. It used to crack me up. That's like when guys would punch their wall when they got mad. It was always so funny to me. Like, that cracks me up every time. Yeah. I knew this guy that used to punch the side of his house. He would go in and he would like be like, I'm gonna go in and ask my dad for some money. He lived in like a split level house, so one side had a part that came out. When you walked out the door, you were kind of right next to the house. He would go in, he'd be like, Dad, can I have $5? And his dad would be like, no. And then he would just walk out the front door and just start punching the side of the house, like just over and over again. There were so many knuckle marks in the side of the stupid house. He always had a bad finger. Never had a good finger. I used to laugh at him so hard.
But yeah, this dude had like a little piece of shit car with like the rebel flag on the back, and when he took his shirt off, I wasn't there for that day, but everyone said like, yo, he's got a big old swastika on his chest, and like that's why he always wears the fucking shirt. He got super mad at someone and just couldn't deal with it anymore, and it was just like, wow. Also, that's another thing. People need to stop calling it the rebel flag, because there's nothing at all rebellious about it. It was a nation of fucking like, you know, tobacco plantation owners. There's nothing rebellious about it. The black flag is rebellious. The street fight flag with the anvil and the beer kegs that you guys did in the nation building zine, that's a rebel flag. A fucking sickle hammer, that is. But like, I don't know why they call it a rebel flag.
Yeah,
because they want to feel cool.
For the most traditional things possible, the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fuck that Nazi.
Right.
We have to get going. We've gone over our time, and then we've gone off the air on the radio. But it's so great.
Oh, shit.
I feel for you with your girlfriend. I hope everything works out and you find another sweetie. And fuck Nazis,
for sure, man.
with you. I'm with you on the fuck Nazis thing.
I'll try to call in a little bit more now that I probably can, you know. But anyway, you guys take it easy. Solidarity with hurricane survivors.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We're always here.
Solidarity with hurricane survivors.
All right.
So I'm gonna get marching home, and you guys take it easy. Keep fighting the good fight.
Good night, bud.
All right, that was Street Fight Radio call-in show. 3 magnificent hours. We had some good ones in there this time, right? The hurricane update was really good.
That guy fucked his sister.
The guy that found out he fucked a half sister. That was unfortunate. Lots of things going on. So if you want to hear more of what we do, subscribe to the show on iTunes. Give us a review. That helps. You've heard that before about podcasts. You can also find us on Google Play and Stitcher, plus the other podcasting apps. If you want to support what we do, we have a website. You can do that on Patreon.com. Patreon.com/StreetFightRadio. We have lots of bonus content available, including our own commentary on Undercover Boss episodes. They've been pretty popular. I'm going to release the Great Wolf Lodge one very soon. So stick to the Descent, stick to the asking questions about the shape of the earth, And keep fucking shit up. We'll be back later this week. We're Street Fight. Peace.
Good night, guys. And people. And everyone.
And gals.
Good night, all of you.
Good night, everyone. Good night, everyone. There it is. All right, we're done. Except for we're on the screen.